Immortal family of the Clear River. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326, Possession. Song Qingming had been cultivating for many years and had found some secret places or caves of his predecessors. Although he could find some good things in them, he had never seen such a scene. The reason why he became so excited just now was because he had seen some useless low-level spiritual objects in the two thatched cottages before, and then suddenly saw so many good things. This sudden contrast really made it difficult for people to control their excitement and lower their guard. The more Song Qingming thought about it, the more he felt that what he saw was not real enough. He raised his hand and took out a small golden mirror, and fired a golden light at the pile of colorful spiritual stones. This mirror was the first second-level low-grade magic weapon, the golden light mirror, that Song Qingming got when he explored the cave of his predecessors in Funiu Mountain. Although the grade of this magic weapon was not high, it had some restraint on the demon cultivators. Although Song Qingming had changed a lot of magic weapons over the years, he still kept this thing on him. After the attack of the golden mirror landed on the pile of spiritual stones, a dazzling white light suddenly appeared, and then it turned into a pile of ordinary black stones, with a few puppet beasts that seemed to be broken on the side. Alice. Sure enough, they are all illusions. Song Qingming sighed, put away the golden mirror, and was about to leave the thatched cottage, but found that the scenery behind him suddenly changed. At this moment, the door of the thatched cottage had turned into a dark stone wall. Glancing around, everything had turned into a dark piece. At this moment, Song Qingming was already in the depths of a dark cave. There was no thatched cottage on the edge of a cliff. Young man. Since you have taken the initiative to come in, you should stay and accompany me first. Just when Song Qingming was a little at a loss, a strange voice came from the depths of the dark cave. Song Qingming was shocked when he heard the voice. He turned around and looked behind him. He found that among the broken puppet beasts, a crane puppet beast that was about the same size as him suddenly stood up and walked towards him slowly. He was still talking while walking, and stopped only when he was 3 meters away from Song Qingming. This is the legendary possession technique. Looking at a puppet beast that could speak to him, Song Qingming suddenly thought of a high-level secret technique in the world of immortal cultivation that he had never seen before, the possession technique. According to the records in the classics, after this technique is performed, the cultivator's soul can be attached to the puppet, corpse, life magic weapon or even the low-level cultivator. The cultivator can use this secret technique to remotely control the possessed object to move freely, and can also exert part of his own magic power. If the opponent really performed this secret technique, then the situation would not be good for Song Qingming. Those who can practice this technique are at least high-level cultivators in the nascent soul stage. It would be easier to crush a foundation-building cultivator like me than to crush an ant. Could it be that I had just escaped from the tiger's mouth and fell into the wolf's den? If I had known that I would take the initiative to run into the hands of the nascent soul old monster, it would be better to be chased by Sun Jingai now. Song Qingming, who was in a dangerous place, was a little panicked at the moment, but he still pretended to be calm and replied with a humble face, I accidentally entered this place to avoid being chased. I didn't mean to disturb the senior's cultivation. I hope the senior can forgive my previous rudeness, haha. You know some etiquette, but you want me to let you go just by saying a few nice words. It's too good to think. The voice of the crane puppet beast was very much like that of a vicissitudes old man, but it was also mixed with a hint of the unique creaking sound of the puppet beast parts when they moved. Then what do you want, senior? To let me go? It's very simple. You just need to take this pill and work for me in the future. I will not care about these offensive things to my subordinates. You can break the formation I set up outside. It seems that the level of the formation should be not low. I am a person who cherishes talents. If you can do a good job for me in the future and make contributions, I will definitely not treat you unfairly. This is an opportunity for you. Not everyone has the opportunity to work for me. After the crane puppet finished speaking, it flapped one of its wings lightly, and a black jade bottle flew out from the ground and fell directly into the hands of Song Qingming in front of him. Song Qingming opened the jade bottle and looked at the pill inside. He found that it was a green pill that he had never seen before. The other party did this because he wanted to use this pill to control him in the future. Senior, you want to use this thing to control me when you fail to take over my body. It's a bit too cruel, haha. You really saw it. It seems that you are not stupid. Hearing Song Qingming's words, the crane puppet suddenly laughed strangely. Senior, you are too kind. Seeing the other party's generous admission, Song Qingming finally confirmed his thoughts. Just when he found this crane hiding in the pile of transformed spirit stones, Song Qingming had already felt that the other party was making such a big scene, probably to seize the body. For cultivators above the Jinden stage, after the body is fatally damaged, the spirit can still survive for a period of time. During this period, these powerful spirits can enter the body of a low-level cultivator and forcibly seize the other party's body and occupy the other party's body. This guy must have lost his body, so he can only attach his spirit to the crane puppet. He just hid in the illusion array just now, in fact, to attack Song Qingming's body at close range. Otherwise, with his unyielding stage cultivation, he would not have to talk so much nonsense with Song Qingming, and there would be no need to use elixirs to control him. From your accent, you are not from Lu. Where are you from? Seeing that the conversation between the two sides fell into an awkward situation, the crane puppet beast suddenly changed the subject. I came here from Uyghur to help resist the invasion of Xianhe League. I encountered the attack of Xianhe League in Huanglongfang, not far from here. It was really an unintentional mistake for me to enter the senior's place. I hope you can forgive me and let me go. Although Song Qingming had seen the other party's intention, he was still trapped in this illusion and could only continue to try to see if the other party could let him go. What did you say? The Xianhe League has already fought in this area. Su Xianpeng of Lingyuan sect is really a waste. Hearing what Song Qingming said, the fairy crane puppet seemed to have a little panic in his tone. After a while, he opened his mouth and said to Song Qingming, "Continue to tell me what the situation is outside now." Guessing that the other party had lost his physical body, Song Qingming also knew that he should have stayed here for a long time and didn't know much about the situation outside, so he told the fairy crane puppet in detail about the battle situation he knew after arriving in Lu. "Kid, I won't waste any more time talking nonsense. I want to make a deal with you. As long as you agree, I can let you go immediately." Chapter 327 Soul Contract. Hearing that the other party was finally going to confront him, Song Qingming narrowed his eyes, put away the golden mirror in his hand, and looked at the crane puppet beast carefully. "Since you have guessed my situation, you should also know what I want most now. But don't worry, I still look down on your pseudo-spiritual root body with low qualifications. If I want to possess a body, I have to find a body with better qualifications. Although you can cultivate to the 6th level of foundation building at this age, your own qualifications are too poor. If you don't have the help of a master, you can forget about forming a pill in your lifetime. As long as you take me away from here and help me find a suitable body to possess in the future, I can stay with you temporarily to help you form a pill successfully. What do you think, Senior? Do you really have a way to help me form a pill?" Song Qingming asked with some disbelief. HMPH. Although I am in trouble here today, I was once a powerful nascent soul cultivator. Although I dare not guarantee that I can definitely help you form a pill successfully, I still have a 60 to 70% chance of success. That should be enough, right? The crane puppet said as he paced on the spot. If it is really as you said, then it should be enough. But how should I take you away from here? It's very simple. You just need to carry this puppet beast with you. Just take you away like this? Senior, aren't you afraid that I will not keep my promise after I leave here? The crane puppet smiled and said, "Since it is a deal, of course we have to make a vow. With this, you can rest assured to keep me by your side. Otherwise, you and I will have to be wary of each other in the future, which is not an easy thing. This is a soul contract that cannot attack each other. You and I just need to separate a trace of our soul and attach it to it. This contract will take effect immediately. If you have no objection, we can sign the contract right away. With this, you should be relieved." After the crane puppet beast finished speaking, one of its wings moved slightly, and a black scroll immediately flew over and appeared at Song Qingming's feet. Song Qingming used his spiritual sense to scan the black scroll and found nothing unusual. He picked it up and opened it to find that the other party had not lied to him. This thing was exactly what it said, a soul contract that restricted both parties. This kind of thing is not an ordinary spiritual object. It is estimated that its value on the market may not be lower than an ordinary second-level upper-grade magic weapon. Although Song Qingming had heard of this kind of spiritual object a long time ago, It was the first time he had really seen this thing in all his years of cultivation. The so-called soul contract is a kind of spiritual object in the world of immortal cultivation that is relatively fair to both parties. The cultivators of both sides each divide a strand of soul into it. If one party does not abide by the agreement in the contract and attacks the other party, the soul contract will take effect immediately and directly devour the entire soul of the person who violated the contract. However, although this soul contract is very useful, once it is signed, it will also leave hidden dangers for both parties. If the contract is not terminated in time in the future and falls into the hands of someone with ulterior motives, it will be a big trouble. Therefore, under normal circumstances, the higher the level of the cultivator, the less likely it is to choose to sign this kind of contract. But at this moment, Song Qingming was facing an old man in the nascent soul stage. He seemed to have no better choice. After hesitating for a moment, he nodded and agreed to the other party's suggestion. Seeing that Song Qingming had agreed to this plan, a purple spiritual light suddenly appeared on the crane puppet, and it sank into the black scroll and laid with the soul contract. Soon, a purple soul appeared on the soul contract. After imprinting its own soul, the crane puppet threw the black scroll directly at Song Qingming. Boy! Now it's your turn. Seeing that there was no big problem with this contract, Song Qingming cast a spell and took the initiative to separate a strand of his soul, and carefully entered the black scroll. Not long after entering the scroll, Song Qingming felt a chill coming, and the soul he separated seemed to be swallowed by something. As the black scroll lit up again, a slightly darker soul appeared on the soul contract. When the soul was engraved, Song Qingming immediately felt as if he was being stared at by a pair of cold eyes, and his whole body seemed to be covered with a trace of cold frost. It took him a long time to slowly get used to this strange feeling. Song Qingming had just embedded his soul and signed the soul contract. The crane puppet that put away the contract suddenly spoke again. Boy! Pretty straightforward. It seems that there is something wrong with your soul. Have you also practiced soul-related exercises, Senior? You are right. I did practice a soul-related exercise earlier, but this exercise is a bit incomplete and can only be practiced to the foundation building stage. The crane puppet beast nodded expressionlessly, then gently waved its wings and threw another scroll of bamboo slips that looked relatively simple to Song Qingming. This set of skills is also for cultivating the soul, and can be cultivated to the golden core realm. I got it by chance many years ago. It is a great honor for me to meet you today. This thing is a gift for you. Don't worry, as long as we can cooperate well in the future, I will not treat you unfairly. Thank you for the gift, Senior. After Song Qingming took the scroll, he did not rush to open it to check, but put it in his storage bag, and then quickly bowed to thank the other party. Okay. Since the soul contract has been signed, my life and property will be handed over to you. Wait a minute, I will remove the formation and let you out. I have been here for so many years and I have wanted to leave for a long time. After saying that, the crane puppet beast left here directly. After Song Qingming waited for about an incense stick of time, the crane puppet beast returned here. I have removed the formation outside. Just go forward and leave this cave and you can leave here directly, Senior. The man who chased me before may still be outside. Should we wait before going out? Seeing that the crane puppet beast suddenly became the size of a fist and fell into his hands, Song Qingming hurriedly asked carefully. He had been in this formation for so many days, and he didn't know that the unlucky Sun Jingai had already fled here in a hurry after being trapped in the formation for a few days. He was a little worried that he would run into this person again if he went out now. Don't worry, go ahead. That guy has left here after walking out of the Thousand Illusions formation. You have to be careful in the future. Don't provoke enemies stronger than yourself. It doesn't matter if you die, but don't take me with you. Chapter 328 Wind Crane. After hearing what the crane puppet in his hand said, Song Qingming finally felt relieved and did not leave immediately in a hurry. Junior Song Qingming, I haven't asked for your name yet. I wonder how I should address you from now on. You know my name, which may not be a good thing for you in the future. Just call me Feng, the crane puppet beast said slowly in a low voice. That's fine. I am of humble origin and have only been practicing Taoism for a few decades. I really don't know much about many things in the world of immortal cultivation. I hope you can teach me more in the future, Feng Senior. As long as you can meet my needs as agreed, I will remind you when I need to teach you. But don't expect me to tell you everything. After all, you and I are not master and apprentice, but just a cooperative relationship, Song Qingming nodded and smiled softly, then took out a golden jade box from the storage bag, intending to put the senior in it and hide him. Boy, what do you want to do? Seeing Song Qingming's operation, the crane puppet beast asked loudly in confusion. Senior Fenghe, I didn't mean to treat you like this. I'm going to Fengyun to meet up with the frontline cultivators. There are many giant and seniors there. If you are discovered, it will be troublesome, Song Qingming explained with some embarrassment on his face. What are you afraid of? I can hide my aura well. Not to mention the little giant and cultivators, even if you meet ordinary Yuanying cultivators, they can't find my existence. Seeing Feng He's confidence in his words, Song Qingming didn't say anything more. He quickly put away the jade box that could isolate the spiritual consciousness in his hand, and found a cloth bag to tie the crane puppet beast around his waist. When Song Qingming walked out of the cave, he found that he had finally returned to the small valley before. At this moment, there was no white fog created by the illusion array in the valley, and it became the usual scene before. Song Qingming carefully looked around and did not find the figures of other people. A relaxed smile slowly appeared on his face. In recent days, Song Qingming has been either being hunted or trapped by formations, and he was almost tricked by the old guy on his waist. These days, his nerves have been tense and he has not been able to rest for a while. After finding a place outside the valley and refining more than a dozen spirit stones to restore his own mana, Song Qingming stepped on the flying sword and turned into a swordlight and left the valley. Fengyun is about 200 miles away from this small valley. Song Qingming flew all the way on the sword. After more than an hour, he finally saw a group of convoys heading to Fengyun on a road dozens of miles away from Fengyun. After Song Qingming landed and asked, he learned that these people came from a place called Xianjingfang not far from here to transport supplies needed for the front line to Fengyun. Seeing his own people, Song Qingming finally put down his worries. This group of convoys has a total of more than a dozen large carts for transporting supplies, pulled by more than a dozen domesticated four-horned horses, and dozens of monks are responsible for escorting. The leader is a foundation-building monk named Gutong. At first, when they saw a strange foundation-building cultivator suddenly fall in front of the convoy, Gutong and the entire convoy, who did not know Song Qingming's identity, were very nervous. It was not until the two sides communicated that Gutong confirmed Song Qingming's identity. After learning that he was also going to Fengyun, Gutong smiled and invited him to join his convoy and took the initiative to invite him to go with him. Song Qingming asked for directions and knew that this place was not far from Fengyun, so he agreed. Anyway, the convoy was pulled by four-horned horses and the speed would not be too slow. Going with them would save some energy. Fellow Daoist Song, I have also heard about the incident in Huanglongfang these days. I hope you can forgive me for being so nervous just now. Song Qingming smiled and sighed. Brother Gu, you are too polite. I actually escaped from Huanglongfang a few days ago. I escaped after hiding outside for several days. Now I don't know where to find the lost Daoists. That's why I thought of Fengyun to see if I can take the spirit boat back to Qingming Mountain directly. Gutong was also a little surprised to hear that Song Qingming escaped from Huanglongfang. Their Xianjingfang and Huanglongfang are not too far away. After hearing that Huanglongfang was attacked, they quickly sent monks to support it. However, when they arrived, the group of Xianhe League had already fled. According to post-war statistics, except for a few foundation-building monks who escaped from Huanglongfang, all other monks were killed by the other side, and the entire market was almost burned to white ground. However, Xiao Rongsu and his group, like Song Qingming, finally escaped without any danger and waited for the reinforcements from Wang Liangping of Qingming. After a fierce battle between the two sides, Xianhe League lost 5 or 6 people again, and the rest of the people fled there in different directions. Hearing the news that Xiao Rongsu and his group survived safely, Song Qingming felt a little relieved. When he was targeted by Sun Jinggai that day, he lost his direction and had to change direction to escape to Fengyun. Although he finally saved his life, it was also very dangerous along the way. In his mind, Xiao Rongsu and his group should be in danger, but they were lucky enough to wait for Wang Liangping's timely support. Originally, it was reasonable that the Huanglongfang market formation could hold up until the monks from other places came to support, but Liu Wengen's betrayal on the spot dealt a fatal blow to the monks guarding Huanglongfang, causing Zhao Mengzhan and others to lose their lives soon. In fact, before Song Qingming and others came to support Huanglongfang, Liu Wengun had already hooked up with Xianhe League. The previous attack on the market was actually Liu Wengun deliberately leading the guards in the market to chase the opponent, and finally lost so many people. Originally, the people of Xianhe League did not intend to let Liu Wengun reveal his identity, but the Qingming nest was suddenly destroyed, and they could not stay near Huanglongfang for a long time, so they simply killed the chicken to get the eggs and completely flattened the market. After Song Qingming and others came back, Liu Wengun wanted to lead them into the ambush of Xianhe League. If Wei Xian had not discovered his idea in time, it would be hard to say whether they could escape with their lives. After chatting with Gu Tong for more than half an hour, the convoy finally arrived at the front camp of Fengguan. Song Qingming ran to ask about the spiritual boats heading to Mount Mountain, but was told that no spiritual boats had returned to Mount Mountain in recent days. He had no choice but to stay in the camp and wait for the spiritual boats to return. After waiting for a long time, Song Qingming did not get the spirit boat, but instead got an order to stay in the frontline camp. Staring blankly at the order in his hand, Song Qingming felt a little amused. Chapter 329, Soul Devouring. The reason why Song Qingming was suddenly transferred to the front line was because the battle between the two sides in Qingming not long ago had caused some sparks. This caused the front line, which had been calm for a while, to become tense again. Xianhe League and Lingyuan sect began to quickly dispatch troops here in the past few days. Song Qingming accidentally ran to the front line this time, and it happened that the superiors found that he had no mission for the time being, so they simply kept him there. Half a year later, on a deserted hillside on the front line of Fangguan, a giant python covered with brown spots slowly crawled out from under a rock protruding from the ground, ready to start a day of hunting. But when it had just crawled away from its nest in the ground for only a dozen steps, a blue wolf-shaped monster suddenly jumped down from a tall tree on one side, directly pressing it under its huge claws, and biting the giant python's neck fiercely, making it unable to move on the ground. The suddenly appearing green wolf had just subdued the unlucky giant python, and a young man in a green robe slowly walked over not far away. After the green-robed man approached the giant python's body, he took out a golden round bowl from his waist with his left hand, and then made a strange gesture in the air with his right hand, and began to chant a spell. After a while, the man stopped chanting, and a faint white light began to emanate from his right hand. The white light became brighter and brighter, and began to feel a little dazzling. When the white light in his hand gathered to a certain extent, it suddenly turned into a white line and rushed straight to the giant python's body, and the green wolf monster next to it also acted quickly, biting off the neck of the giant python under its feet, killing this poor monster whose fate had already been determined. With the irradiation of the white light, a light green ball of light, the size of a thumb, suddenly appeared on the body of the giant python that had just died. When the green-robed man saw the appearance of this small ball of light, he was quickly delighted, and threw the golden round bowl that he had already held in his left hand towards the green ball of light, carefully controlling the bowl to slowly approach the object. As soon as he approached the green light ball, several golden rays of light shot out from the golden bowl, which rolled up the green light ball and quickly sucked the strange light ball into it, and then returned to the hands of the man in green robe. Senior Feng He, do you think the spirit of this monster can be used? The man in green robe took back the golden bowl, looked at the green light ball inside, and suddenly began to talk to himself in front of him, who was empty. After a while, another somewhat old voice suddenly sounded from him. This strength of monster spirits can almost make do. Your current soul is still too weak. You can only start practicing by absorbing these low-level monster spirits. When you practice to the second level of the soul devouring technique, you can go to find some more powerful souls. This technique cannot be too hasty, it can only be practiced step by step. It took me almost 10 years to practice to the second level of the soul devouring technique. With your aptitude, it will probably be slower. Fortunately, this technique is not very difficult. As long as you have patience and spend more time, you can practice to a high level with poor aptitude. Hearing the other party's voice of approval, the green-robed man also breathed a sigh of relief. He had been looking for a suitable monster spirit during this period. He had been looking for it for half a month, and today he finally got something. This green-robed man is Song Qingming, who has been on the front line of Fangguan for more than half a year. The reason why he has been looking for a suitable monster spirit is actually to practice the soul-devouring technique that Feng He gave him. This set of skills is better than the soul-forging technique that Song Qingming practiced before, and it can at least be practiced to the Golden Core realm. After obtaining this set of skills, Song Qingming quickly decided to put aside the practice of the soul forging technique and switch to this set of skills. The method of soul devouring technique to improve the soul is mainly to capture the souls of some monsters with lower intelligence, to devour and refine them, and to achieve the purpose of strengthening one's own soul. This is a skill that requires patience to practice. Moreover, the monster spirits that need to be devoured in the early stage cannot be too strong, and it is also very troublesome to collect them, because these low-level monster spirits are too fragile. If the soul collecting technique you perform is not well controlled, it will easily cause this fragile soul to dissipate between heaven and earth. Song Qingming has tried more than a dozen times in a row. Either the spell failed, or the collected soul is too powerful. It was not easy to find a qualified monster spirit today. At the beginning, the soul devouring technique can only devour and refine the souls of spiritual creatures with low spiritual intelligence. The progress of the early stage is much slower than that of the soul forging technique. However, after practicing to the second level, as the souls that can be devoured become stronger and stronger, the speed of practice will slowly increase. In the end, as long as there is a sufficient supply of souls, the speed will be stronger than other soul techniques. However, there is a taboo in this technique, that is, it is absolutely not allowed to devour the souls of similar human cultivators. Although this can improve the progress of practice faster, once it cannot be controlled, it will easily cause the souls of cultivators to affect their own spiritual intelligence, and eventually make the cultivator a crazy person with abnormal spiritual intelligence. After putting away the golden round bowl in his hand, Song Qingming waved to the blue giant wolf beside him. The blue giant wolf emitted a burst of spiritual light, and then jumped directly into the air and turned into a 3-inch blue puppet and fell into Song Qingming's hands. This puppet beast, named Chiffon Beast, is a second-level low-grade puppet beast known for its speed. In order to obtain this item, Song Qingming not only spent all the merits he had accumulated over the past year, but also took the initiative to extend his time at the Fanguin front for 2 months, and finally exchanged this item from the Lingyuan sect's good merit pavilion. During the 6 months at the Fanguin front, Song Qingming also experienced many dangerous battles at the beginning. It was in these battles that Song Qingming hunted and killed many enemy monks, and finally gathered merits on the battlefield that could be exchanged for a second-level puppet beast. Since Song Qingming was left at the Fanguin front, the Lingyuan sect has been fighting with the Xianhe League on and off, and the two sides also have a tacit understanding on the battlefield. Today, the Jinden monks fight each other, and tomorrow the foundation-building monks and the Qi refining monks fight each other. Anyway, everyone abides by the fair rules of the battlefield, and will never send high-level monks to the battlefield of low-level monks to slaughter the opponent's low-level monks. After fighting for several months, neither side gained any advantage and gradually calmed down. The number of battles gradually decreased. The Jinden stage cultivators of both sides suffered no losses, only a few were injured, but the lower-level cultivators of the foundation building and Qi refining stages suffered heavy casualties. The only strange thing was that Song Qingming had been on the battlefield for so long and had never seen any unyielding stage cultivators from either side. Chapter 330 Return to Uyghur. During the most intense months of the battlefield, Song Qingming basically stayed at the front line of Fanguin, except for the occasional mission to escort supplies. In this kind of melee where dozens or hundreds of foundation-building monks of the same level are fighting, monks with lower cultivation strength are the easiest to be targeted. After all, people like to pick on the weak. However, even if you are a master at the peak of foundation building and have excellent magic weapons, once you behave too fearfully, it is easy for the opponent to specifically target you, and send many people to beat you up. Many masters from both sides accidentally fell on the battlefield. The reason why Song Qingming was able to survive smoothly in this very dangerous battlefield is that his own magic weapons are relatively excellent. With top-level second-level magic weapons such as the Green Water Bell and the Alphabet Black Knife, he will not be defeated so easily against ordinary foundation-building monks. Even if he can't beat the opponent, as long as he doesn't encounter a top foundation-building master like Sun Jingaya before, he can still save his life. Secondly, Song Qingming was very low-key on the battlefield. In the half-year battle, Song Qingming only found the opportunity to kill 2 opponents of the same level with lower cultivation. This record was not ranked on his side, otherwise he would not have needed so long to collect enough merits to exchange for the second-level puppet beast. In this dangerous half-year, The senior Feng He who had been following him actually helped him a lot in secret. Although this guy did not directly help him fight the enemy, his powerful soul could easily help Song Qingming quickly distinguish which opponents were difficult to deal with on the battlefield. It was with the occasional guidance of this old senior that Song Qingming was able to successfully avoid the most powerful masters among the foundation-building monks sent by the Xianhe League, who were hidden in the crowd, and survived with good luck in the eyes of others. The constant battles with the monks of the same level also greatly increased Song Qingming's own fighting experience, and his own strength has also been greatly improved. Now Song Qingming can fight back and forth in a short time, even if he faces an ordinary late-stage foundation-building monk, and he will not be at a disadvantage. In this kind of environment of constant fighting, it is actually very helpful for some cultivators to comprehend their own cultivation. In the past 6 months, Song Qingming has seen many cultivators who have been troubled by their own cultivation bottlenecks for many years. Soon after the battle, they successfully broke through their cultivation. It's a pity that the mana accumulated in his body is still far from breaking through the 7th level of foundation building, and he didn't encounter such a good opportunity. In this way, after more than half a year of wandering in the more dangerous Fengyuan front, Song Qingming finally accumulated enough merits and exchanged for a second-level puppet beast that he had been thinking about in the Lingyuan sect's good merit pavilion. This time, Song Qingming came out to collect the spirit of the monster beast, and it was also the first time that Song Qingming controlled and used this puppet beast. Its combat ability still made Song Qingming very satisfied. The reason why he chose to exchange this chiffon beast was because Song Qingming was attracted by its extremely fast speed in battle. Under Song Qingming's control, this second-level inferior puppet beast can be 3 points faster than an ordinary cultivator who has just built a foundation, and it is easy to achieve unexpected results in the fight against the enemy. Song Qingming, who had received the giant python spirit, had just returned to the front-line camp when he received a piece of news that made him happy. A few days ago, he applied for a transfer order to return to Uyiguo, and today he finally got a reply. A few days later, Song Qingming boarded the spiritual boat that returned to Qingming Mountain to transport monks. He first returned to Lingyuan sect, and then waited there for more than half a month before taking a large flying boat back to Uyiguo. On the way from Fengyuan to Qingming Mountain, all the spiritual boats that transported supplies and monks were strictly inspected. The frontline monks could not return to the rear of Lingyuan sect at will without receiving a transfer order. Otherwise, if they were caught deserting in the face of the enemy and shaking the morale of the army, not only would they be severely punished, but also their relatives and disciples would be implicated. Not only was the battle on the front line fierce, but in the past 6 months or so, the monks who transported supplies in the rear of both sides were also often attacked by monks sent by the other side to infiltrate. The monks stationed at the Lingyuan sect's market strongholds on the front line of Fengyuan also had to run around to rescue the transport of materials and monks. Many of them did not escape the fate of falling outside. Fortunately, after the Huanglongfang incident, the Lingyuan sect also strengthened the defense of these strongholds in time. In order to prevent Liu Wengen from betraying the sect again, the Lingyuan sect not only issued a large reward order for him, but also executed all his relatives and disciples with ruthless means. This also shocked many people who had been sneaky in the war before, and the combat effectiveness of the monks on the battlefield of the Lingyuan sect in the past 6 months has been significantly improved. It was not until Song Qingming boarded the large flying boat back to Uyiguo that the tense atmosphere on the battlefield finally slowly subsided. This time, the flying boat returning to Uyiguo was relatively empty. Except for some monks who returned to Uyiguo like Song Qingming, there were not many goods loaded. Only some spiritual objects unique to Uyiguo were carried to Uyiguo market for sale. The Xiaoyao sect's giant and cultivator sitting on the flying boat has been replaced by Chu Fengping, a relatively young Jiandan elder in the Xiaoyao sect. He has only been in the Jiandan realm for less than 60 years, and now his lifespan has just passed 200 years. Although this person's cultivation is ranked at the bottom in the Xiaoyao sect, he is also a rare third-level alchemist, and his alchemy level is second only to the third-ranked elder Wu Tong in the Xiaoyao sect, and this elder's lifespan is already more than 500 years old, and at most he has a few decades left. After he passes away, there will only be Chu Fengping, the third-level alchemist, left in the Xiaoyao sect, which also means that his status in the future should not be worse than any other elder. The flying boat returned to the Guiyang mountain of the Xiaoyao sect after sailing for more than a month. After Song Qingming got off the flying boat, He did not rush back to Qing County, but went to visit Song Zinayu, who had joined the Xiaoyao sect in the past few years. After experiencing the tragic death of his uncle Song Kings, Song Zinayu has obviously grown a lot. Not only has he become more stable, but his cultivation has also improved and finally entered the late stage of Qi refining. Song Qingming estimates that in about 10 years, he should also start to plan for foundation building. Among all the cultivators of the new generation of the Song family, Song Zinayu has the best talent and qualifications, and is also the cultivator of his generation with the most hope of building a foundation. Song Zinayu has been highly valued by his teachers in Xiaoyao sect over the years. Given his situation, as long as the Song family can help him a little in the future, it will not be difficult for him to obtain a foundation building pill. Song Qingming has also been mentally prepared for this. When Song Zinayu builds his foundation in the future, even if the clan cannot take out the spirit stones, he will definitely support him even if he has to pay out of his own pocket. After carefully instructing Song Zinayu, Song Qingming left him some spirit stones, and then set off to return to Qing County and return to Funiu Mountain, which he had been away from for more than a year. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331, Paying Homage to the Elders. In a tall cave on the top of Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming, who had completed his 5-year term as garrison commander of King Hefang, was helping a beast master of the Song family feed a giant red bird that was 10 feet tall. The giant bird looked at a green python that Song Qingming had thrown into the cave, and it picked it up with its sharp beak and swallowed it into its stomach. After that, it felt that it was not enough and called out to the outside a few times. Hearing the voice coming from inside, Song Qingming shook his head helplessly. Since the Sky Fire Peng advanced to the second-level monster beast, its appetite has become more difficult to satisfy than before. Now it simply does not eat ordinary beasts. The Song family cannot afford to feed it with pills such as the soul-feeding pill, so they can only send a monster hunting team out from time to time to find some monster blood food for it. After feeding the Sky Fire Peng, Song Qingming was about to leave, but suddenly there was another violent vibration in the cave behind her. Before she could figure out the situation, when she turned around, a huge red figure had already flown out of the cave and flew straight into the sky. Strange. How is this guy? Song Qingming was a little confused. Seeing that Cheyenne Huipeng, who had hardly left the cave since Song Qingming left, actually ran out today, she was immediately surprised and hurriedly followed him on her sword. Before she could catch up with Cheyenne Huipeng, she suddenly felt a spiritual power fluctuation coming from the mountain protection formation on the top of the mountain. A green sword shadow fell from the sky into the Funiu Mountain and stopped on the square outside the meeting hall. Cheyenne Huipeng, who had just flown out of the cave, saw the sword light and shouted excitedly a few times. He flapped his huge wings and quickly followed. When Song Qingming rushed over, she happened to see a man in a green robe stroking the well-behaved Cheyenne Huipeng. Seeing such a familiar dress, she, whose personality has become very calm over the years, couldn't help but hug him happily. The man in green robe who could make Dian Huipeng, who always had a bad temper, become like this was naturally Song Qingming, who had left Funiu for more than a year. Compared with the past, Song Qingming's time away from Qing County was not too long this time, but the place he went to was too far away. Song Qingming, who was far away in Lu State, could hardly get any news about Qing County, which made him feel as if he had been away for a long time when he just returned here. Hey! You are already a foundation-building cultivator, why are you still so reckless? What will it look like when others see you later? Looking at Song Qingming, who had not changed much from before he left, Song Qingming, who had just returned to Funiu, teased her with a smile on his face. Hearing Song Qingming's reminder, Song Qingming immediately reacted and quickly let go of her hand. She looked around with a little shyness on her face and took 2 steps back. Seventh brother. Why didn't you send a message in advance when you came back? I didn't have time to inform 6th uncle and the others in advance. Ever since Song Qingming went to the front line of Lu State, Song Qingming naturally knew that going there was not an easy thing. Although Song Qingming would send a message to Funiu to report his safety every month or so, she was still worried about Song Qingming's safety in her heart for more than a year. However, As the only remaining foundation-building cultivator in the clan, she was also the backbone of everyone in the Song family after Song Qingming left. No matter how worried she was, Song Qingming couldn't show it too much in front of other clan members. At this moment, seeing that Song Qingming finally returned safely, the big stone that had been weighing on Song Qingming's heart for so long finally fell. Seeing that Song Qingming was somewhat disgusted with his sudden appearance, Song Qingming could only smile apologetically and said, "The day I came back was also decided at the last minute. It's too late to send you a message in advance. Is the clan safe during this period? Everything else is fine. There are basically no major changes. It's just that my second uncle passed away 2 months ago. The clan leader personally handled his funeral. After discussing with the clan leader, his remaining spiritual objects and family merits have all been handed over to my sixth brother. It's almost the same date. It's a pity that I didn't have time to catch up. I'll send him off. Take me to his grave to pay tribute first." Song Qingming sighed slightly after saying this. Following Song Qingming to the family cemetery at the foot of the mountain, Song Qingming made up for a few belated sacrifices to this elder who had fought for the family all his life with a very solemn expression. While he was paying tribute to his second uncle in the cemetery, the clan leader Song Changfeng, the fifth aunt Song Changling, the 13th uncle Song Changsheng and other family elders in Funiu Mountain had received the message sent by Song Qingming and came here. Several elders have watched Song Qingming support the entire Song family step by step to this day. Naturally, like Song Qingming, they are always worried about Song Qingming, who went to the front line of Lu State. When they heard the news of his safe return, these elders, who were already not young, all came to Song Qingming with joy. "Qingming, after the second brother left, I also felt that my body was a little bit bad. Fortunately, I can see you return safely. Even if my old bones are exhausted now, I can rest assured to see my third uncle and others." Song Changfeng supported the tombstone of his second uncle Song Changwu, smiled and said slowly to Song Qingming. Fifth aunt Song Changling and sixth uncle Song Changfeng are both white-haired and old. They are now the two oldest people in the family. They have lived for more than 110 years and are estimated to be in a few years before they pass away. Looking at the tombstones standing in the family cemetery, they are filled with mixed feelings. The sixth uncle Song Changfeng's spiritual root aptitude is actually better than Song Qingming's, but it's a pity that he was born decades earlier and didn't catch up with Song Qingming's good luck. When Song Changfeng entered the Taoism, the Song family was still a very weak Qi refining family. Even though he had extraordinary aptitude and had cultivated to the 9th level of Qi refining early, he didn't have a glimmer of hope to build a foundation. In the end, although he mustered up the courage to force his way through in his later years, he still failed as expected. After failing to build a foundation, he was able to live to this day, which was a blessing from heaven. After paying tribute to his second uncle, Song Qingming returned to the family meeting room and met with a clansman from Funiu Mountain, who came to comfort him one by one. He then had a drink with his eldest brother, fourth brother and other childhood friends before returning to his cave. "Boy, your family is too weak. There are only so few people in the whole family, and there is not even a second spiritual root qualification. Where are you going to find a good body for me?" Song Qingming, who had just returned to his cave, had not had time to rest for a while when Feng He's voice suddenly rang out again. Chapter 332 Delaying Time. Song Qingming, who was still a little drunk, suddenly woke up when he heard the voice. After such a long intense battle in Lu State, Song Qingming, who returned to Funiu Mountain, relaxed his body and mind all of a sudden, causing him to almost forget about the senior who had been following him. "Please rest assured, senior. I haven't forgotten the agreement between us. However, it is not so easy to help you find a suitable body to take over. Please be patient and give me more time. I'll give you a little more time. How much life do you think I have left? I will let you look for it slowly. I think among those people just now, even the girl has the best aptitude. I wonder if you are willing to give her up." Hearing Feng He's shocking words, Song Qingming's heart instantly showed a trace of anger. He shook his head and said sternly, "Senior Feng He, I only promised to help you find a suitable body, and I didn't promise you how long it would take to complete this task. If you are worried and think that I will deceive you in the future, you can use the contract at any time and we will die together. Although I, Song Qingming, am not a gentleman, I am definitely not a person who is willing to betray my relatives and friends. Whether you believe it or not, I have to advise you not to think about attacking my people in the future, otherwise the agreement between you and me will end here. Do you really think that I would really like her body? I'm just reminding you. There's no need to be so hasty to turn hostile. Although Song Qingming had guessed at first that this old guy was just teasing her, when he heard that Feng He wanted to take over Song Qingyu's body, he couldn't help but feel disgusted and couldn't control his mouth. Back in Lu, you said you couldn't get away. Now that you're back to your territory, you should have your own plans and ideas, right? Tell me directly. Seeing that this old guy was really anxious, Song Qingming could only tell him the countermeasures he had already thought of these days. Senior. You should know that things like taking over bodies are not fair and above board in the world of immortal cultivation. If you look for a target around here, it will be easy to be discovered. If a big sect like Xiaoyao sect finds out, I will be in trouble. After taking over a body, you will lower your own cultivation level and you will not be able to run far without the protection of others. If I want to help you find a suitable body, it is better to look for it in a farther place. This will be safer. I just came back. If I go out far away right away, it will be easy to be noticed by someone with ulterior motives. Let's wait. After hearing what Song Qingming said, Feng He thought for a moment and seemed to think that what Song Qingming said made some sense, so he did not raise any objections. Feng He, as a powerful cultivator who had practiced Taoism for many years, was naturally very clear about the discrimination against taking over bodies in this world of immortal cultivation. If Xiaoyao sect knew that someone did this in a place like Uyghur, they would definitely not ignore it. Once Song Qingming was restrained by the other party and confessed him, it would not be easy for him to escape the pursuit of Xiaoyao sect. In this world of immortal cultivation, in addition to the demon cultivators who are hated by everyone, the act of possessing a body is also despised by the righteous cultivators. However, compared with the demon cultivators who kill and injure people at any time, the impact of possessing a body on the entire world of immortal cultivation is not that great. Although everyone has clearly prohibited this matter, there are still many people who will violate this command behind the scenes. However, there are many restrictions on the matter of possessing a body. First of all, a cultivator can only possess the body of one person at most in his lifetime, and his lifespan will not increase. Secondly, after the cultivator possesses a body, his original cultivation will disappear, and he needs to start practicing from the beginning. However, because of the previous memories, the cultivator who possesses a body will practice much faster than ordinary cultivators. Therefore, except for some high-level cultivators like Feng He whose physical bodies are suddenly damaged and have to do so, there are very few cultivators who will abandon their original cultivation to possess other cultivators. After all, if the lifespan will not increase, once they choose to practice again, some people will find it difficult to even restore their original cultivation, let alone other ideas. The reason why Song Qingming agreed to Feng He's help in finding a body to take over was mainly to save his own life, not for a Feng He's unrealistic words that he could help him form a pill. Song Qingming, who has practiced Taoism for so many years, has long known that no matter how big the pie others draw for you is, you don't have the ability to eat it, and in the end it is just empty talk. Now he has this troublesome thing on his back, which is really enough for him to have a headache, although helping others to take over a body is more or less damaging to his own virtue. However, compared with his own life, Song Qingming is not unacceptable to take the risk of doing a bad thing. After all, he has never thought of himself as a great saint, but now he can find a reason to delay this time first, so he doesn't have to worry too much about this matter. After appeasing Feng He, Song Qingming took the initiative to retreat and started a period of peaceful practice again. A few months later, in Qingming Mountain, dozens of miles away from Funiu, 4 Qi refining cultivators wearing Song family clothes were fighting hard against several low-level Qingming pythons. Compared to the predicament when Song Qingming and the monks of the clan came to hunt monsters, the 4 people of the Song family who were here now were obviously much more wealthy. Their own cultivation was above the middle stage of Qi refining, and the magic weapons in their hands were much more sophisticated than those of Song Qingming and his group. To deal with these low-level green bamboo pythons, they did not need the assistance of formations, and they won the battle directly by fighting head-on. After killing these green bamboo pythons, an older square-faced man quickly took out a small green bottle from his body and began to cast a spell to collect the monster spirits they wanted most from these monster corpses. After a careful operation, the square-faced man finally collected 2 green light balls from the 5 monster corpses. This result made their group of people smile with joy. Usually, it was good to receive 1 from 5 corpses. Unexpectedly, they could harvest 2 monster spirits today. This was really good luck for them. After putting away the small green bottle, several people quickly decomposed these monster corpses carefully, and then left here with satisfaction. The Song family has had a lot more monster hunting teams like this in recent times. Most of them are new generation cultivators whose cultivation has gradually improved. The monster spirits they collect are exactly the tasks that were posted in the gold storage pavilion a month ago by a supreme elder of the Song family. As long as they collect a low-level monster spirit, they can exchange it for 10 spirit stones. For them, this task gives a lot of spirit stones and is not very dangerous. Naturally, it soon attracted many people to form teams to hunt low-level monsters. Chapter 333 10 years. Song Qingming, who was in the cave house in Funiu Mountain, looked at the dozen small jade bottles sent to him, with a look of surprise on his face. He whispered to Song Qingxi beside him, "There are so many monster spirits collected in the past few days. The family's monster hunting team has been much more diligent than before. Well, since the release of this task, everyone has been very active. Many young people in the family have also taken the initiative to come to the Golden Pavilion to exchange for the soul collecting technique," Song Qingxi replied calmly. Song Qingming nodded gently, showing satisfaction. "I have so many this month, which is enough. Qingxi, please pay attention to it. Next, limit the number of monster spirits collected each month. Don't let everyone like this task and affect the normal operation of other parts of the family." "Okay, I'll notify them right away," Song Qingxi nodded and responded quickly. "Well, go and get busy first. I think your cultivation level is not far from a breakthrough. I have a few pills that should be useful for your cultivation. I'll treat them as a reward for your hard work. For people of our generation who practice Taoism, the path is the first priority. Don't let these trivial matters delay your own cultivation. If the Golden Pavilion is too busy recently, tell your eldest brother and ask him to send someone to help you." Looking at the small porcelain bottle that Song Qingming handed to her, Song Qingxi took it and bowed with a smile to express her gratitude, then nodded and left Song Qingming's cave. Over the years, as several long-term cultivators in charge slowly died, their generation of cultivators has basically handed over the affairs they managed to the next generation, and the person in charge of the Golden Pavilion has also changed from the clan leader Song Changfeng to Song Qingxi recommended by Song Qingming. The 14th-old Song Qingxi also followed Song Qingming for a long time in the early years to learn the way of formation. Although the two are of the same generation in the clan, they are actually a master-disciple relationship. Although Song Qingxi's spiritual talent was not as good as the 10th brother Song Qingyu, she had been careful and steady since she was a child. In addition, she had been following Song Qingming for many years, so she had some skills in managing family affairs. Song Qingming was still relatively relieved when the Golden Pavilion was handed over to her. In order to practice the soul-devouring technique given to him by Feng, Song Qingming had to go out frequently to hunt monsters and collect their spirits. Although he had a high level of cultivation and could quickly kill such low-level monsters, collecting the spirits from these corpses was not such a simple matter. Sometimes, killing 5 or 6 low-level monsters might return empty-handed. It was too inefficient for one person to do this. Later, after thinking about it, Song Qingming simply issued a task to capture the spirits of monsters in the family's Golden Pavilion, and put the corresponding soul-collecting technique directly into the Golden Pavilion, so that other cultivators of the Song family could also participate in this task to help him solve this more troublesome problem. After all, he was also the controller of a cultivation family, and it would be too wasteful to leave so many of his men unused. Now Song Qingming needs the lowest level of the first-grade lower-grade monster spirits to practice the soul-devouring technique. Most Qi refining cultivators can kill this kind of monster alone, and the soul-receiving technique is not a difficult spell to practice. In just 1 month, many cultivators of the Song family have already learned this spell. Seeing that the Gold Storage Pavilion suddenly released such a task with a very generous reward and low difficulty, many cultivators of the Song family were attracted to it. For a while, the monsters near the Funiu Mountain suffered a serious blow, which also made the Song family territory much more peaceful. With their help to do this troublesome thing, Song Qingming can finally practice the soul-devouring technique wholeheartedly. After bidding farewell to Song Qingxi, Song Qingming sat cross-legged on the futon in the cave with his eyes closed. After casting a spell, the soul in Song Qingming's body slowly emerged and separated from the body. Song Qingming had practiced a soul forging technique before, and his soul was already 3 times stronger than that of ordinary foundation building cultivators. Now that he was using the soul leaving technique, he was naturally already familiar with it. Under Song Qingming's control, a jade bottle containing the spirit of a monster had been opened, and a dim light ball instantly ran out of the bottle. It was the spirit of the monster captured by the Song family cultivators before. After being locked in the bottle for so long, the small light ball had already become a little manic, but before it could make any move after it had just gained freedom, a somewhat transparent big hand had already firmly grasped it in its hand. Seeing that something else wanted to control it, the small green light ball immediately began to struggle, but compared to the transparent giant that grabbed it, this small light ball was too weak, and it was soon crushed and swallowed into its mouth. After swallowing the spirit of the monster, Song Qingming quickly took back his soul outside his body, and then began a long period of meditation to refine it. In this way, spring passed and autumn came. After a long period of hard practice, Song Qingming finally cultivated the soul devouring technique to the 2nd level 10 years later. After successfully cultivating the soul devouring technique to the 2nd level, Song Qingming actively released his spiritual consciousness and found that it could now be released 40 or 50 feet away. Ordinary cultivators of the same level as him, if they did not practice the spiritual soul technique, could only release it 10 or 20 feet away at most. His current spiritual soul is almost twice as far as theirs. Seeing that his years of hard practice finally yielded good results, Song Qingming was satisfied and put away the technique and walked out of the door of his cave. Seeing that the 7th brother is so happy, is his cultivation about to break through again, Song Qingming, who is meditating on the top of the mountain, noticed a movement on Song Qingming's side and walked towards him with a smile. After seeing Song Qingming also chuckled, then shook his head and said, "This time it's just that the previous practice method has made progress. I've been sitting in the cave all these years. It's a bit difficult to rely on hard work to break through my cultivation. I don't know when I will have the opportunity to break through to the late stage of foundation building. Tomorrow, I decided to go to Yangshanfang again to see if there are any elixirs that can help me break through. If you want to buy anything, I will help you find it. The elixirs I have for practice are almost used up. Please bring some back for me. I'll give you spirit stones when you come back. Then please help me see if there are any 2nd level water attributed monster furs. Recently, I have gained some insights into my talisman making skills, and I want to try to see if I can take this opportunity to break through to become a 2nd level talisman maker." After Song Qingming thought for a moment, he quickly said the spiritual objects he needed. "Okay. I've made a note of it. Don't save the elixirs you need for future cultivation. If you don't have enough spirit stones, just tell me directly." Seeing that Song Qingming was in a good mood after coming out of seclusion this time, Song Qingming hesitated for a moment, but finally made up his mind and asked Song Qingming, "7th brother, what do you think about the thing I told you last time?" Chapter 334 New Clan Leader. Hearing Song Qingming's question, Song Qingming was stunned for a moment, then shook his head and said, "Qingming, let's wait until your cultivation breaks through to the middle stage of foundation building before we talk about this. Your strength is not strong enough now, and I am really worried about you going on a long journey alone. You said that you wanted to go out and gain some experience so that you can quickly improve your strength. Last time you wanted to go to Lu State, you didn't go. You see, my progress of cultivation in the mountains is not as fast as yours back then." Song Qingming muttered a few words a little dejectedly. "It's okay to practice slowly for a while. There's no point in being too anxious. You see, I've been staying in the mountains all these years. I've been in danger a lot of times. I really don't want you to take this risk now. I promised you that I'll let you go out to practice after you break through the middle stage of foundation building. You don't have to worry about it. Maybe I'll go to Xiandan Pavilion to see if I can find an elixir for you to break through the realm." Song Qingming has been pestering Song Qingming for almost a year about wanting to go out for practice. For her safety, Song Qingming thought about it again and again but still didn't let her go. Originally, after Song Qingming came back from Lu State, it should have been the Song family's turn to send foundation building cultivators to the front line again in 4 years. As a result, 3 years after Song Qingming came back, the Xianhe League had to take the initiative to stop the attack on Lu State because of the sudden attack of the sea monsters in the south, and transferred all the main forces on the front line back to deal with the attack of the monsters. After the two sides of the cultivators stopped fighting, Xia Oyo sect also withdrew the cultivators supporting Lu state back to Wei state. At that time, Song Qingming had already promised Song Qingyu that he would let her go for the second time, but the sudden truce could only put an end to the matter. In the past 10 years, although the cultivation world of Wei state where Song Qingming was located had been relatively peaceful, the surrounding countries were not stable. Although Lu state in the south had temporarily ended the battle with Xianhe League, it was only temporary. The two sides might fight again at any time. Zhang state in the east has started civil strife again in recent years. Not only did the two giant sects often quarrel, but this time it was heard that another force intervened, making it even more chaotic than before. At this time, Song Qingyu wanted to go out for training, and Song Qingming was still a little worried, but he also knew that he could not stop Song Qingyu from going out for training for a lifetime, so he could only try to postpone the time until Song Qingyu broke through to the 4th level of foundation building. Facing Song Qingming's intentional care, Song Qingyu was naturally very clear in her heart. Under Song Qingming's protection over the years, she had never fought against a strong enemy except for experiencing a crisis in Qinghofang. This was also a shortcoming for her. It was definitely not possible for a cultivator to hide in the mountains and not come out. However, when Song Qingming was able to do so, he wanted to give them as much protection as possible. This was a good thing for Song Qingyu, but also something that often worried her. As a cultivator, Song Qingyu was also more yearning for the outside world. Although she knew it was very dangerous there, so many people in the world of immortal cultivation would continue to move forward towards this goal. The eagle always spreads its wings and flies high. Song Qingming was also looking forward to this matter in his heart, but before that, all he could do was to protect them as much as possible so that they could face these things better. After Song Qingyu left, Song Qingming, who was about to go out tomorrow, invited his eldest brother Song Qingshi over again. After asking about the family's recent situation, he told him about his trip to Yangshanfang. In the past 10 years, the Song family has also undergone great changes. First of all, the patriarch Song Changfang had already sat in his own cave 8 years ago. It may be because of the failure of the foundation building that year. Song Changfang's lifespan is obviously several years less than that of other members of the same generation, so that he is still ahead of his fifth aunt Song Changling, who is older than him. Fortunately, their generation has basically seen the rapid development of the Song family in recent years. In just 30 years since Song Qingming built his foundation, the Song family has grown from a small Qi Refining family to a foundation-building family with 2 foundation-building cultivators. Seeing how powerful the Song family is, Song Changfeng, the head of the Song family, even left with a bit of relief at the corner of his mouth. After Song Changfeng passed away, Song Qingming automatically became the new patriarch of the Song family. He took over the ring representing the identity of the patriarch of the Song family and the genealogy of all the cultivators in the family, which are the 2 most important objects in the inheritance of the Song family. Among the cultivators of the Chang generation, except for the 15th aunt Song Changyu, the rest have passed the age of 100 and are in the stage of enjoying their retirement. The power of family management has also been smoothly transferred to the hands of the Qing generation. The eldest brother Song Qingshi manages the family affairs and basically participates in all matters big and small. In recent years, his prestige in the family is second only to the 2 foundation-building cultivators, and he is comparable to the 6th uncle Song Changfeng before his death. With the help of Song Qingming's search for healing pills in recent years, the second sister Song Qingwen soon returned to Qinghofang after her injuries healed and took over all her original affairs. In recent years, the family's industry in Qinghofang has finally recovered slowly with the return of Song Qingwen, the original operator of the family market. Although the 13th uncle Song Changshan has reached the age of 100, he is a person who can't sit still. Even at this age, he often takes the younger generations of the family to go out to hunt monsters and educate the young monks who are just starting out. However, Song Changshan has already selected the candidate for the next elder of the law enforcement team after he retires. It is Song Xintang, who ranks 8th in the new generation. Although this child is a cultivator with 4 spiritual roots, he practices very hard. He is still young, just in his early 30s. And his cultivation has recently broken through to the 7th level of Qi Refining. Now with Song Changshan's personal teaching, it won't be a big problem for him to take over the affairs of the law enforcement team in the future. The affairs of the ninth uncle Song Changsan in Funiu Mountain have been handed over to the eighth brother Song Qingming, and he has returned to the family to retire. Shichun went back to continue to look after the industry of Fengtao Mountain. When he was stationed in Fengtao Mountain in the early years, he was always good at dealing with people and married a female cultivator of Qi Refining from the Wang family. You have to know that for a small Qi Refining family like the Wang family, every cultivator is very important to them. To get them to agree to marry a female cultivator, Shichun really put a lot of effort in this regard. In order to get the Wang family to fulfill this matter, Shichun not only asked Song Qingming to help him act as a matchmaker, but also took the initiative to help the Wang family a lot before they agreed. Shichun was invited by Song Qingming at the beginning. Over the years, he has also been conscientious in the Song family and helped Song Qingming a lot. Seeing that Shichun came to the Song family alone, he not only had a cultivator wife but also had time to marry several mortal concubines. Song Qingming was also very pleased. Chapter 335 Rescue of Baiyang Mountain. 2 days after Song Qingming left Funiu, a young monk from the Song family suddenly found Song Qingshi, who was checking the spiritual objects planted by the family in the spiritual field in the back mountain. "Uncle, there is a letter asking for help from Baiyang Mountain. Bring it here for me to see." After reading the letter in his hand, Song Qingshi frowned and said carefully to the young monk in front of him, "Yuan Hao, you immediately go and invite all the family elders on the mountain to the meeting hall to discuss the matter, brother." "What big thing happened this time? You are so cautious." Song Qing, the spiritual elder at the side, saw that the face of the brother who usually behaved calmly seemed to be a little wrong, and asked him in confusion. Baiyang Mountain is 80 miles away from Funiu Mountain. It is a spiritual place that the Song family seized from monsters 6 years ago. It is located on the edge of Yunwu Mountain and is often harassed by monsters. In the past, when the Song family received such a letter for help, they usually just asked the law enforcement team to send a few Qi Refining cultivators to support them. How could Song Qingshi treat it so carefully? Song Qingshi handed the letter of help he had just received directly to Song Qing, sighed and slowly said, "A large group of monsters appeared near Baiyang Mountain, led by a level 2 fire scale leopard. It is estimated that the spiritual vein can no longer be defended now." "What? There are actually level 2 monsters, what should we do?" In the meeting hall of Funiu Mountain, several elders of the Song family in Funiu Mountain have gathered in the hall. "Brother, no matter whether Ares Mountain can be defended or not, we still have to find a way to drive out these monsters quickly. Otherwise, if we allow these monsters to cross Ares Mountain, the nearby Wutong Mountain, Liufang Ridge and other spiritual veins will surely be destroyed once they are targeted by these monsters. Qingming is not on the mountain. It is too dangerous for Qingming to deal with a level 2 monster in the wild alone. It is safer to wait for Qingming to come back before we act together, but if we don't drive out these monsters in time, we will inevitably suffer greater losses, and it will also chill the hearts of those families that are our vassal states. This will cause great damage to the reputation that the Song family has accumulated for decades." After hearing the news that a level 2 monster had appeared near Ares Mountain, many Song family elders in the conference hall were suddenly a little panicked. Now that Song Qingming, the backbone of the family, is not on the mountain, and it is not known when he will be able to come back, the family territory was invaded by a level 2 monster during this period, which really gave everyone a headache. "The monsters have invaded our family's territory. Whether we can drive them out immediately or not, we have to give it a try. I will take Xintang to Baiyang Mountain to check out the situation." Uncle 13, your law enforcement team should quickly organize people to go to support, and remember to bring a set of second-level magic array. Also, inform other vassal families of the news of the monster invasion, so that they can also be prepared to deal with the monsters at any time. Just when everyone was having difficulty reaching a consensus, a young woman with a pretty face slowly walked into the meeting room. Seeing that the family's foundation-building ancestor Song Qingming had already made a decision, the family elders who were still discussing just now shut up and focused their attention on her. "Qingming, do you think you should let the Wang family know? If they can send someone to help, our chances of winning will be better." Seeing that everyone was silent, Song Qingshi thought about it and spoke out his suggestions. "It's just a second-level monster. It's not time yet. I'll go check out the situation first. Don't worry, I was almost killed before, so I know the limits and won't put myself in danger." Song Qingming looked at everyone with a firm look and a confident look, then took Song Xintang to Baiyang Mountain on a flying sword. The reason why the Song family occupied Baiyang Mountain was because a copper vein was discovered here a few years ago, so they cleared out the low-level monsters that were originally entrenched on the mountain, and cultivated a medium-grade spiritual vein here, preparing to manage the mountain well in the future. Since the black iron ore in Lingyuan Mountain has been slowly exhausted, the Song family has also increased its manpower to look for other veins in the territory. However, finding a vein is mostly a matter of luck. After so many years of searching, several soul explorers in the Song family have only found a vein with a good reserve in Baiyang Mountain, which shows that this is indeed not easy. The Wang family of Funiu Mountain was so lucky that they easily found the priceless Qingming ore vein at the foot of their own mountain, and lived a life without worries about food and clothing. After all, it was just an exception. They were the only family in the entire Qing County. The reserves of the refined copper vein in Baiyang Mountain are larger than those in Lingyuan Mountain. It is estimated that it can be mined for 100 or 200 years. In recent years, the Song family has cultivated a medium-grade spiritual vein on the mountain, and hundreds of mortals have been migrated from Funiu to mine the vein. The only bad thing is that this place is a little too close to Funiu Mountain, and monsters come to harass from time to time. Therefore, the Song family also specially set up a top-grade mountain protection formation here, plus 3 mid-stage Qi Refining monks to guard against monsters that stray into this place. Generally speaking, as long as there is no group of monsters attacking, Baiyang Mountain does not need to send a letter for help to Funiu. Unexpectedly, a second-level monster broke in this time, which was really beyond the expectations of everyone in the Song family. You should know that although there are still many monsters in Qing County, it has been many years since a second-level monster invaded the territory of each family. The last time such a thing happened was more than 40 years ago, in the Wang family's territory. However, the invading White Lion that year also suffered a miserable end. In the end, the Wang family raised an army to retaliate and killed it on Chiffon Ridge. Compared with those first-level monsters, the destructive power of second-level monsters is too great. Ordinary Qi Refining families can't withstand this level of power attack. If the foundation building cultivators of the main family don't support in time, the mountain protection formation will be quickly broken. And both cultivators and mortals will basically be buried in the belly of the monster. The 3 Song family Qi Refining cultivators in Baiyang Mountain were nervously looking through the formation at the low-level monsters that had already entered the mist formation outside and were running around. Even though these monsters were getting closer and closer to them, they still didn't dare to activate the formation to drive them away, for fear of alarming the fire-scaled leopard that was obviously larger than the other monsters and red all over. Once the second-level monster discovered this place, the 3 of them, including the hundreds of family mortals in the formation, would die here. However, no matter how carefully they hid themselves, there were still many monsters with sensitive noses who had noticed the unusualness here. The mist outside could help them hide for a while, but if it went on for a long time, it would be a matter of time before the monsters discovered this place. After so many years of cultivation, it was the first time for the 3 of them to face such a crisis. Although they had sent a letter to the family asking for help, the monster's attack was too sudden. The reinforcements sent by Funiu Mountain could not arrive here in time. The few people were very nervous at the moment, but there was nothing they could do. They could only pray silently in their hearts. Just when they were extremely panicked, a white sword light came from the sky and landed in Baiyang Mountain. After seeing the person coming, they were immediately excited and bowed their heads. Welcome to the Supreme Elder. Chapter 336, Restraining the Monster. Seeing that the few people in front of him had sweat on their foreheads after being frightened by the monsters outside, but still looked calm on the surface, and did not blindly activate the formation to expose the place, Song Qingming nodded to them with satisfaction. Thank you for your hard work. No need to be polite. The moment these 3 people saw Song Qingming, they were already very excited, and when they heard the words of the family's supreme elder to comfort them, they almost burst into tears. They were unable to get up for a long time, and it was Song Xintang who came forward to help them up one by one. Xintang, you stay here for a while and help them control the formation. I'm going to lure away some of the fire-scale leopards first. There are too many monsters outside now. We must delay until Uncle 13 and the others come to support us before we can launch a counterattack and drive these monsters back to Funiu Mountain. 10th Aunt, isn't it too dangerous for you to go out alone now? The monsters haven't discovered this place yet. Do you want to wait a little longer? Song Qingming shook his head and said, The movement we just came over has been noticed by some monsters. We can't wait for Uncle 13 and the others to come if we hide here. I have to go out and lure some of them away. There are at least 40 or 50 monsters outside. Once they notice this place, the protective formation alone won't last long. The cultivation level of this fire scale leopard is not much different from mine. Even if I can't kill it, it's not difficult for me to get away. Don't worry about it, just take care of yourself. After seeing a white sword light suddenly disappear near Qingming Mountain, the fire scale leopard not far away quickly smelled the smell and approached here with more than a dozen first-level monsters. However, before they entered Qingming Mountain, this white sword light suddenly flew out from a white mist in the mountain and took the initiative to kill them. Song Qingming in midair, holding the Taoguang sword in his hand, quickly cast a spell and sent out dozens of sword rains, instantly hitting the two first-level monsters running in front with several huge blood holes, and soon fell to the ground with a scream. Seeing his subordinates being killed by the other party, the fire scale leopard howled angrily and spit out a large fireball about a foot wide at Song Qingming, who was still in midair. Facing the swift attack of the fire scale leopard, Song Qingming, who had just cast a spell and had no time to dodge, calmly took out a purple jade plate to block himself. This purple jade tablet is called Purple Emperor Jade. It is a second-level lower-grade defensive magic weapon with good defensive ability. A few years ago, when Song Qingming went to Yangshan Fang to buy spiritual objects, he accidentally saw this item in the Jade Tower and liked it very much, so he spent 800 spiritual stones to get it. Song Qingming already had the Bishu Bell, a second-level upper-grade top-level defensive magic weapon, and this one was not very useful. The reason why he took it was to leave it for Song Qingming to defend himself. When cultivators above the foundation building stage fight, having a handy defensive magic weapon can greatly improve the cultivator's survival ability. In the Battle of Qinghefang that year, Song Qingming was ambushed by Chen Zikan because he did not have a second-level defensive magic weapon. He was quickly defeated and almost died at the hands of Wu Xiong and the others. The Purple Emperor Jade quickly turned into a purple shield in front of Song Qingming to protect her. After the fireball spit out by the fire scale leopard hit the shield, it made several violent explosions. After the smoke dissipated, Song Qingming, who was unharmed, put away the Purple Emperor Jade and did not linger in the fight. She turned the sword light and flew directly to the other side of Qingming Mountain. Seeing that the person who had just angered him wanted to escape, the fire scale leopard shook his red hair like fire fiercely, kicked his legs and chased after Song Qingming. In order to lead this large group of monsters away from here as much as possible, Song Qingming did not escape at full speed. She carefully avoided the magic attacks of the fire scale leopard behind her and the monsters around her, and slowly led them all away from Qingming Mountain. The cultivation of this fire scale leopard was not much different from Song Qingming, and it had reached the peak of the initial stage of foundation building. In terms of escape speed, it was not worse than Song Qingming, and soon caught up with her and fought with her. Fortunately, Song Qingming had a good magic weapon, and the breaking waves technique she practiced was also a water-attributed technique that focused on defense. Although the two sides in the battle with the fire scale leopard were besieged by many monsters, Song Qingming did not feel too much pressure. When these monsters were lured to far enough distance, Song Qingming suddenly took out a second-level water arrow talisman to force the fire scale leopard back, and then increased the speed of escape to get rid of the low-level monsters beside him, and fled to a slightly shorter hill. When the fire scale leopard pounced on Song Qingming in the battle, it was suddenly hit by a water arrow head-on. Not only did it fail to take down the opponent, but it was also cut a few inches deep on its back by the powerful water arrow because it did not dodge in time. The blood immediately slowly seeped into its hair. After turning around and seeing Song Qingming running away, it shouted angrily at the sky a few times, but it did not choose to continue chasing. The fight just now also made it know that Song Qingming was not an easy opponent to mess with. Although the fire-scaled leopard was a hot-tempered monster, it was not a single-minded monster. When facing an opponent like Song Qingming who could threaten its life, the fire-scaled leopard knew to give in. Seeing that the fire-scaled leopard behind her did not chase her, Song Qingming quickly took out the pill to restore her mana and took it. After sitting down, she began to hold the spirit stone in her hand to restore her mana. Although she was not injured in the battle just now, she still consumed a lot of her mana by continuously urging the magic weapon to fight the enemy. These monsters were still staying nearby. When Song Changsheng and his men arrived here, there would definitely be another big battle. She must hurry up to recover her own state. Song Qingming has rarely left Funiu Mountain in recent years, so she doesn't have the opportunity to fight with others as often as Song Qingming does. This time, she has the opportunity to fight against a level 2 monster that is not much different from her strength. It is also a rare opportunity. Song Qingming, who has practiced to the 3rd level of foundation building for many years, also felt that her cultivation bottleneck was touched in the battle. I believe that after this battle, it won't take long for her to successfully break through to the 4th level of foundation building and become a mid-stage foundation building cultivator. In the battle just now, Song Qingming also almost figured out the details of the fire scale leopard. Although the cultivation of this monster is not much different from hers, it practices fire attribute spells, which are just restrained by Song Qingming's water attribute skills. If it is just facing a fire scale leopard, Song Qingming is still quite confident that he can defeat the opponent. Just when Song Qingming recovered his mana, Song Changshan had already brought more than 20 cultivators to the vicinity of Baiyang Mountain. The people he brought were all the core cultivators with strong strength in the Song family. The lowest among them was also in the mid-stage of Qi Refining. Seeing that the formation of Ares Mountain in the distance had not been destroyed by the monsters, Song Changshan and others were overjoyed and quickly sent a sound transmission node into Ares Mountain. Chapter 337, Qingming Cloud Array. As soon as this sound transmission landed in Baiyang Mountain, it quickly alarmed the nearby monsters. The fire-scaled leopard, which had been led away by Song Qingming for a distance, saw the movement on Baiyang Mountain and surrounded this side with a large number of monsters. The reason why Song Changshan and his team sent the sound transmission to Baiyang Mountain was to cooperate with Song Qingming in the formation to launch a surprise attack on the monsters under the mountain. They just arrived here and didn't know that Song Qingming was not in Baiyang Mountain. Not only did this sound transmission not reach Song Qingming immediately, but it attracted the monsters to Baiyang Mountain again. After Song Xintang, who was hiding in Baiyang Mountain, received the sound transmission from outside, he quickly informed Song Changshan and others of the situation that Song Qingming had just gone out to contain the monsters with a sound transmission talisman. This back and forth movement finally exposed the location of Baiyang Mountain completely. Seeing that many monsters had already broken into the mist formation and were about to pass through the defense position of the Baiyang Mountain protection formation, Song Xintang and others in the formation decisively activated the mountain protection formation that had been prepared long ago. As the Baiyang Mountain formation lit up, Song Changshan and others who received the reply sound transmission node saw that the monsters had surrounded Baiyang Mountain. They did not care about looking for Song Qingming's traces, and hurried to Baiyang Mountain from the side. The law enforcement team formed a formation to block the second-level monsters. Everyone should not disperse and try to get closer to Baiyang Mountain. Song Changshan and his team had so many people coming out at once that they soon attracted the attention of the fire-scale leopard, which brought more than a dozen monsters to kill them. There were 2 sets of second-level formations made by Song Qingming himself in the Song family law enforcement team. This time, Song Changshan had anticipated that there might be a big battle, and also brought a set of second-level formations Qingming Union formation. This set of second-level formations is different from the previous set of Jingwang Xiangxin formations that trapped the enemy. The Qingming Union formation is a set of second-level formations that are both offensive and defensive. As long as the 9 Qi Refining disciples control it, it can also pose a certain threat to the second-level monsters in a short period of time. The monks of the law enforcement team had already trained this formation for many years. Before Song Changshan gave the order, they had already prepared the formation flags in their hands. The fire-scale leopard had just rushed into the attack range of the greenwood cloud smoke formation when a burst of white smoke suddenly rose, hiding the figures of Song Changshan and others in the middle of the formation. Seeing that its vision was affected all of a sudden, the fire-scale leopard could only rely on its instinct to smell the smell and rush to the position in the formation. However, before it could get close, 4 or 5 sharp wooden thorns suddenly stabbed out twice, almost piercing its limbs. The fire-scale leopard could only jump back quickly and spit out a flame to burn the things blocking the way to ashes. Other first-level monsters that broke into the vicinity of the formation were soon trapped by the smoke released by the greenwood cloud smoke formation and lost their direction. They did not have the powerful spiritual sense like the second-level fire-scale leopard monster to accurately find the position of everyone in the formation, so they could only wander around in the fog. Although it knew the position of Song Changsheng and his men, no matter where the fire scale leopard attacked from, it would be forced back by the suddenly appearing wooden thorns. It launched more than a dozen attacks in a row, but none of them worked. The fire scale leopard was already a little angry because it failed to stop Song Qingming before. Now it ran into Song Changsheng and his men, and wanted to kill them to vent its anger. Unexpectedly, it was stopped by the greenwood cloud smoke formation in front of it. After the angry fire scale leopard roared, it slowly condensed a huge fireball several times larger than before from its mouth, and then spit it directly into the formation. Seeing that the monster was ruthless, the 9 Song family monks who were running the greenwood cloud smoke formation hurriedly drove the formation flags in their hands and erected a wooden wall in the smoke to block the attack. After a burst of fire, the wooden wall erected by the Song family was quickly penetrated by the fire scale leopard. The fireball rushed through the wooden wall and landed 4 or 5 feet away from them. A deafening sound almost shook everyone's flags. Even though the few people closest to them released their defensive magic weapons in time, they were still shaken several feet away by the aftermath of the explosion. If it weren't for the wooden wall blocking the fireball and slightly deviating its direction, Song Changsheng and his group would have been almost wiped out by the fire scale leopard's attack. Facing the attack of a powerful second-level monster, the Song family only had this second-level magic array in their hands that could still resist, and they didn't dare to leave the protection range of the greenwood cloud smoke array at will. Fortunately, the attack just now also consumed a lot of the fire scale leopard's mana. If this monster wants to launch such a powerful spell again, it will take some time to accumulate mana. The Song family took advantage of this gap and slowly approached Mount Mountain under the cover of the smoke released by the Qingming Mountain formation. As soon as they approached the monsters besieging Mount Mountain, Song Changsheng shouted loudly, and everyone quickly divided into 2 teams. He led a dozen monks to rush towards the monsters besieging the formation. The remaining 9 monks who controlled the Qingming Mountain formation used the formation to temporarily stop the chasing fire scale leopard. There were only 4 people including Song Xintang and Mount Mountain. They were facing the attack of dozens of monsters at this moment. The mountain protection formation was already in danger. If they could not get support from the monks, Song Xintang and his men would not be able to hold on for long. The timely support of Song Changsheng and others allowed Song Xintang and his men, who had been struggling for a long time, to finally take a breath and temporarily defend the Mount Mountain protection formation, without letting any monsters enter the Mount Mountain station. The people who blocked the fire scale leopard at the foot of the mountain and the people who guarded the Mount Mountain protection formation on the mountain had just fought with the monsters. A white sword light finally flew from the top of the mountain on one side of Mount Mountain and directly killed the fire scale leopard that was suppressing the Song family cultivators. Seeing this sword light, the Song family members naturally recognized that it was their own foundation-building ancestors who came to help, and their morale was greatly boosted. The fire scale leopard here had defeated the Song family cultivators who controlled the greenwood cloud smoke formation repeatedly. When it was about to accumulate strength to completely defeat this annoying formation in front of it, a wide giant sword more than 10 feet high in the sky fell head-on towards it, nailing the huge head of the fire scale leopard in place. This attack caused the huge fireball that the fire scale leopard had just prepared to be brewed to disappear before it could be released, leaving it howling in pain. The fire scale leopard realized that someone was attacking it, and after struggling to break free from the control of the Taoguang sword, it quickly changed its target of attack. It jumped up from the ground and just happened to see Song Qingming falling from midair. "Go help Uncle 13 and the others, leave this to me." When the fire scale leopard saw Song Qingming, who had fought with it half a day ago, it was also extremely jealous of the enemy. It kicked its legs on the ground and turned into a red gust of wind and rushed towards her. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338 Rescue. Previously, Song Qingming had been hiding in a small hill nearby to recover her mana, and had not discovered a battle on Mount Mountain in time. It was not until the fighting noises in the back became louder that Song Qingming heard the noises and quickly came to support. Fortunately, although she came a little late, she still stopped the fire scale leopard in time, and did not let this second-level monster cause too many casualties to the Song family monks. This time, Song Qingming finally had the opportunity to fight the fire-scale leopard alone. Seeing the monster rushing towards her, Song Qingming raised a slight smile at the corner of her mouth, raised the Taoguang sword in her hand and took the initiative to meet it. Seeing that Song Qingming finally arrived here, the Song family members who controlled the Qingming Mountain formation finally breathed a sigh of relief. It was impossible for them to be able to contain the fire-scale leopard with only the magic formation in their hands. After fighting this fierce monster for so long, they were almost at the end of their strength. If their ancestors had come a little later, they would definitely have a hard time withstanding the attack that the fire-scale leopard had just accumulated. After hearing the order from Song Qingming, these people quickly retreated and joined Song Changshan and others behind them to deal with the low-level monsters that besieged Baiyang Mountain. With these 9 people and the addition of the Qingming Mountain formation, the Song family quickly gained the upper hand. Although their number was less than that of the monsters, their overall cultivation and combat effectiveness were much higher, and they had a lot of experience fighting monsters for many years. At this moment, without the influence of the second-level fire-scaled leopard, everyone also let go of their hands and feet and their worries, and tried their best to use various means to deal with the monsters. After these years of stable development, the Song family has gradually become a veritable foundation-building family. Now in Qing County, its strength has surpassed that of the Lu family. Most of the current Song family cultivators have no shortage of handy magic weapons in their hands. Some elders with slightly higher status even have spirit beasts, puppet beasts, second-level magic weapons, and spirit talismans, which are very rare spiritual objects on the market. Uncle 13 Song Changshan has been the family's law enforcement elder for decades. Over the years, he has participated in almost all the big and small battles that have occurred in the family, and has accumulated a considerable fortune. The reason why he was able to survive the Battle of King Hefeng unscathed was that he relied on a second-level spiritual talisman in his hand to intimidate the bandits who wanted to besiege him. Although Song Changshan is now over 100 years old, he has always refused to admit his age and often personally takes the younger generation of the family out to hunt monsters. At this moment, he is holding a second-level flying sword and facing 3 late-stage Qi refining monsters alone. He can easily suppress the opponent and show the same might in this battle. A 9th-level Qi refining cultivator like Song Changshan, who has a sophisticated cultivation base and a second-level magic weapon, has a combat power that exceeds most Qi refining cultivators and has reached the peak of the Qi refining stage. If he is equipped with a set of powerful second-level formations, he can also not lose to weaker second-level monsters. Song Qingming, now facing the fire-scale leopard again, had already recovered to her best state. In comparison, her opponent, the fire-scale leopard, had been restrained by the greenwood cloud smoke formation for a long time and had consumed part of its own mana. After fighting with Song Qingming for dozens of rounds, the fire-scale leopard gradually found that the spells it cast were getting weaker and weaker, while Song Qingming was getting braver and braver. In addition, her skills were very restraining. Knowing that it was somewhat defeated, the fire-scale leopard gradually lost the courage to continue fighting. It found a gap and ran away directly, not even caring about the low-level monsters that followed it. "Where are you going? Leave your life for me." Song Qingming was having a great time fighting here, and suddenly saw the fire-scale leopard running away. She had been itching to fight for many years and didn't want to let go of this rare opponent in front of her. She picked up the Taoguang sword and chased after it, wanting to keep this monster. Although the fire-scale leopard was no match for Song Qingming, it was also a monster beast known for its speed. It was really difficult for Song Qingming to catch up with it in a short time, but she did not give up the pursuit easily. The man and the beast soon entered the Funiu Mountain. After Song Qingming chased for more than 100 miles, they arrived at a huge volcano with thick smoke. When the fire-scale leopard arrived here, it suddenly stopped, howled loudly a few times, and suddenly attracted a group of low-level monster beasts from nearby, trying to besiege Song Qingming. Seeing that this place looked a bit like the lair of the fire-scale leopard, Song Qingming knew that she would not be able to gain any advantage if she continued to fight it here, so she could only turn around and return to Baiyang Mountain with some regrets on her flying sword. When she returned here, the battle at the foot of Baiyang Mountain had already ended. The low-level monster beasts that besieged Baiyang Mountain were already no match for the Song family monks here. Seeing that the leading fire scale leopard had escaped, these monster beasts quickly lost their fighting spirit and fled with the fire scale leopard. After a great battle on Baiyang Mountain, although the Song family killed more than a dozen low-level monsters, they also lost a clan member in the battle, and 7 or 8 people suffered varying degrees of injuries. In fact, it was not a big victory. However, the purpose of this battle was to break the siege of Baiyang Mountain. Although they failed to successfully kill the culprit, the fire scale leopard, who invaded the territory, it was worth the trip to drive all these monsters back to Funiu Mountain. Not long after Song Qingming returned here, Uncle Nine Song Changxin brought more than 30 monks organized later to Baiyang Mountain. Most of them were temporarily recruited from the vassal families of the Song family to come to support. Song Qingshi was afraid that Baiyang Mountain was short of manpower, so he issued a call to the vassal families below for safety. In recent years, another small Qi Refinement family has migrated from the neighboring Pingyang County to the Song family's territory. The Song family already has 7 vassal Qi Refinement families under them. After receiving the call from the Song family, these vassal families also quickly summoned monks to come to Funiu. Hearing the news that a level 2 monster appeared in Baiyang Mountain, the leading monks of each family became very nervous and hurried to Baiyang Mountain with Song Changxin for support. Everyone knew very well that if the Song family really lost this battle, the monster would march straight into the Song family's territory, and it would be difficult for them, the families protected by the Song family, to remain unscathed. Once they were targeted by a level 2 monster and the Song family was unable to come to their aid, it would be difficult for them to escape the fate of death and extinction of the family. When everyone arrived at Baiyang Mountain, they saw that the Song family had repelled the monster, and everyone's tense faces along the way finally breathed a sigh of relief. Especially when they heard that Song Qingming, the ancestor with the highest cultivation level, did not come to the battle of the Song family, and the Song family drove the monster back to Funiu Mountain with only Song Qingming, a foundation-building monk. Each family had a little more offer the Song family, the main family that protected them. Chapter 339 White Jade Pill. In Funiu Mountain, after scaring Song Qingming away, the fire scale leopard gathered its scattered subordinates together again. However, it did not choose to return to its nest. Instead, it looked at a huge volcano not far away with great fear, and then growled a few times and led these low-level monsters to change direction and go south. Not long after the fire scale leopard left, a somewhat cold voice suddenly sounded in a hot cave behind the volcano. Alice. Someone has just arrived nearby, my dear disciple. It seems that we have to change places again. This damn place is too hot and stuffy, and I don't want to stay here for a long time. Now there are only a few spiritual objects left to refine this last magic weapon. We need to go to the market to find them. Master, don't worry, we will soon be successful, haha. Disciple's right. After a crazy laugh, the two voices quickly disappeared in the cave. At the foot of Guiyang Mountain, in an inn in Yangshan, Song Qingming was carefully looking at a golden pill in his hand in the room. Senior Feng, after I refine this white jade pill, can I really have a chance to break through to the 7th level of foundation building? After Song Qingming muttered to himself, a breeze blew past his ears, and a somewhat old voice suddenly sounded from the mouth of a palm-sized crane puppet beast on the table. Your magic power has been polished to perfection, but you have not been able to break through. What you lack is just a spiritual object that can guide the cyclone of magic power in your body. Although the effect of the white jade pill is not as good as the realm-breaking pill, there is still a great hope for you to break through after refining this pill. It's also because your aptitude is too poor. If you were replaced by a cultivator with better spiritual roots, you wouldn't need the white jade pill at your current state, and you would almost automatically break through in no time. Hearing that Senior Feng mentioned his spiritual root aptitude again and hide him, Song Qingming could only shake his head helplessly. Spiritual root aptitude is something that cultivators are born with, and there is no way to change it. Although I have deeply felt the many disadvantages of not having the same spiritual roots as others, I have already gotten used to it over the years. Feng He's words are true. Some people are born with strong spiritual roots and can stand at the top of the world of immortal cultivation without much effort. But what this Yuanying boss who once stood at a high position with extraordinary talent today can't see is that more people in the world of immortal cultivation don't even have spiritual roots, and can only be ordinary mortals with a lifespan of dozens of years. Although Song Qingming knew very early that he would not have much prospects for cultivation with his 4 spiritual roots, He never complained about the injustice of heaven in this regard over the years. Compared with those childhood playmates who have turned into yellow earth, he has been able to practice Taoism and live to this day, and his fate is better than many people. Whether it is an immortal cultivator or an ordinary mortal, people always have to be content to be better. It has been 4 or 5 days since Song Qingming came to Yangshanfang. This time, Song Qingming was lucky. He found the spiritual objects he wanted to buy. He also found a white jade pill in Shandan Pavilion that might help him break through his cultivation. Since he reached the 6th level of foundation building, Song Qingming soon found that his cultivation had encountered the biggest bottleneck after foundation building. Even though he tried many pills, he still couldn't successfully break through to the late stage of foundation building. Song Qingming succeeded in foundation building at the age of 46. It has been 40 years now. In the first 30 years, he broke through one level of cultivation in an average of 5 to 6 years. Although this is not considered particularly fast among foundation building cultivators, it has exceeded 70% to 80% of the cultivators of the same level. However, after reaching the 6th level of foundation building, it has been almost 12 years. Although Song Qingming has already polished the mana in his body to perfection, he has still not been able to successfully break through his cultivation. The last time he encountered such a powerless situation in cultivation was when he broke through the 4th level of Qi Refining before going down the mountain. At that time, Song Qingming finally relied on the support of his elder brother to finally gather the spiritual stones and exchange them for a key gathering pill from the family's gold storage pavilion to assist in the breakthrough. Now Song Qingming's cultivation has reached the 6th level of foundation building. The best elixir that can help foundation building cultivators break through to the late stage of foundation building is a 3rd level elixir called the barrier breaking pill. It's a pity that spiritual objects above the 3rd level in Uyghur basically don't appear in the market. The only place Song Qingming knows of such elixir is the Good Merit Pavilion in the Xiaoyao sect, but the merit required to exchange for the barrier breaking pill is very high. The Song family has accumulated merits for so many years, but they can't exchange for such spiritual objects. Although Song Qingming is not short of spiritual stones now, he has not found a way to exchange for this elixir. In the past few years, he has also visited Yangshanfeng many times to inquire about the news of the barrier-breaking pill, but he still has no way. Even in the several auctions held by the Shandan League, he had not seen this kind of elixir, which really disappointed Song Qingming. If the white jade pill in his hand could not help him break through his cultivation this time, he could only go to other countries near Uyghur to inquire about the news of the barrier-breaking pill. The white jade pill that Song Qingming got this time was also suggested by Feng He after he failed to find a spiritual object to break through several times. Unexpectedly, he was lucky enough to buy this kind of elixir from Yinling of the Shandan Pavilion. The white jade pill is different from the barrier-breaking pill. Although it can help the cultivators in the foundation establishment period to break through their cultivation, the effect is far worse. This kind of elixir is generally used by cultivators to assist other spiritual objects to break through. Although the white jade pill is not a particularly popular elixir, it is also a 2nd level upper grade elixir. This kind of spiritual object is already the highest grade elixir even in the Shandan Pavilion. Song Qingming has been booking with Yinling for more than a year before he got one from her. Senior, I promise you that as long as I can successfully break through to the late stage of foundation building this time, I will leave as soon as possible to help you find the body you want, and I won't let you wait too long. Well, as long as you haven't forgotten this, it's fine. Although I don't have much time left in my life, there are still many things that I haven't completed. If you can successfully help me find a body, when I recover to my previous level of cultivation, it won't be difficult to help you form a pill in the future. You can rest assured about this. Although Feng He occasionally reminded Song Qingming to go out and help him find a suitable body in recent years, he also knew that Song Qingming's current cultivation strength was not high, so he didn't urge him too much. When Feng He and Song Qingming talked about their cooperation, he also promised to help Song Qingming successfully form a pill. Although Song Qingming was still far from forming a pill, Feng He also knew that if he couldn't help him get through the late stage of foundation building now, it would be difficult to motivate Song Qingming to form a pill in the future. Chapter 340 Song's Anayu. Just as Song Qingming was talking to Feng He, the restriction he had set up at the door of the room suddenly emitted a wave of spiritual power. After putting away the elixir and the crane puppet in his hand, Song Qingming stepped forward to remove the restriction and opened the door. When he saw a man in white standing at the door, who looked to be in his 20s, a smile immediately appeared on the corner of his mouth. Nephew greets Uncle 7th, we are family, so there is no need to be polite when you are away from home. Come in. The man in white was Song Zinayu, who had been a member of the Zioao sect for many years. 10 years had passed, and Song Zinayu's appearance had also shed his youthfulness, and he looked much more mature and stable. 7th uncle, why don't you come directly to Qingming Mountain when you come to see me? I haven't had the chance to entertain you properly over the years. Song Qingming smiled and said, I'm glad you're so thoughtful. This time, besides coming to see you, I also want to help your aunt Qingming find some spiritual objects. After 6th uncle left, all the big and small things in the family depend on me. I've been too busy in the past few years and have neglected you. The reason why my nephew has been able to cultivate so smoothly over the years is also due to the support of the clan. 7th uncle, I feel embarrassed to hear this. Song Zinayu also showed a smile on his face. It seems that your cultivation has broken through the 9th level of Qi Refinement for a while. Are you ready for foundation building now? When Song Zinayu heard Song Qingming's question, his face became serious. After thinking for a while, he replied, my nephew broke through to the 9th level of Qi Refinement a year ago. My foundation is not yet stable enough. I want to wait a few more years to build my foundation, so that I can have a better chance. How much merit do you need to exchange for foundation building now? Song Qingming did not answer his question, but directly asked Song Zinayu the most critical question in foundation building. Although Song Zinayu has been a member of Zioao sect for many years, it is still difficult for him to accumulate enough merit to exchange for foundation building pills by himself. When his third brother Song Kings cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refinement, he also risked his life to perform many dangerous tasks before accumulating enough merit to exchange for a foundation building pill. I still need half of the merit now. The master has agreed to lend me 2,000 merits at that time. I should not be much short of it if I accumulate for a few more years. Song Zinayu replied with a relaxed look. It's enough to polish your foundation for another 2 years. Building a foundation is related to your lifelong path, so it's better to do it as early as possible. Don't delay it because of these spiritual stones. I still have 3,000 spiritual stones here. Keep them well. Don't forget to prepare more auxiliary spiritual objects when building your foundation. If something happens to your master, send a letter home. Now your family is not as poor as before, so you can still take out these spiritual stones. Hearing this, Song Zinayu tightly grasped the storage bag filled with heavy spiritual stones that Song Qingming put in his hand. At this moment, he was also full of mixed feelings. For a moment, he didn't know how to reply. He could only lower his head to cover his slightly red eyes. The family sent you to Zioao sect, and they also have high hopes for you. Naturally, they will not ignore your path, but the next foundation building matter still depends on your own luck. I hope you can seize this opportunity and live up to everyone's expectations of you. After Song Qingming finished speaking, he stepped forward and gently patted Song Zinayu on the shoulder, asking him to quickly put away the spiritual stones in his hand. After the uncle and nephew talked about family matters for a few more words, Song Qingming stood up and sent him away from Yang Shenfang. When they parted, Song Qingming also handed over the foundation building experience he brought from the clan to Song Zinayu. This time, Song Qingming came to Yang Shenfang. In addition to purchasing spiritual objects, the most important thing was Song Zinayu's foundation building. When Song Qingming sent him to Zioao sect, he had already decided to support him as much as possible in building his foundation in the future. Now Song Qingming has done everything he can, and the next step depends on his personal luck. After seeing off Song Zinayu, Song Qingming did not stay in Yang Shenfang for too long. He set off to return to Qing County early the next morning. As soon as he returned to Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming had not returned to his cave, but he immediately learned from the people of the clan about the Battle of Qingming Mountain that had occurred more than 10 days ago. He immediately came directly to Song Qingyu's cave and asked her in detail about the specific situation after the invasion of the monster beast. Song Qingyu was also very happy to see Song Qingming finally come back, and immediately told him the whole story of the fire-scale leopard's invasion. Song Qingming happened to be away from the clan this time. Hearing that Song Qingyu took on the responsibility of protecting the family alone and successfully repelled the monster, He still felt that it was a bit reckless for her to restrain the monster alone, but he was very pleased that Song Qingming had such courage and performance. If she was given some more opportunities to train, she should be able to become a qualified family guardian. After discovering that the fire-scale leopard had invaded Qingming Mountain, Song Qingming made the decision to fight quickly, which was not a problem. Although the Song family suffered some losses in this battle, at least they saved this mineral vein. Otherwise, if the monster was allowed to wander around in the Song family's territory, the loss might be more than just Qingming Mountain. Even if Song Qingming was in Funiu at that time, he would make the same choice. After listening to Song Qingming's narration, Song Qingming called his eldest brother Song Qingshi over and asked about the family's rewards and pensions for the monks who participated in the war. Before Song Qingming came back, Song Qingshi had actually almost done this matter. Whether it was the one who died in the battle or the injured monks, they had basically received the proper comfort. Although the Song family did not dare to say how rich they were in recent years, they could still easily take out this little bit of spiritual stones. Seventh brother, this fire-scale leopard brought so many monsters to Qingming Mountain. I feel that this matter is a bit strange. This monster has obviously advanced for many years and has its own territory, but it suddenly left Funiu Mountain for no reason. It is really puzzling. In fact, when Song Qingming just heard about this, he already had some such doubts in his heart. When he heard Song Qingming say this, Song Qingming couldn't help but deepen his doubts. The second-level monsters in Funiu Mountain basically have their own fixed territories. Generally speaking, this fire-scale leopard will not easily leave its territory and invade Qingming Mountain with so many subordinates. You're right. It's possible that some strange monsters we don't know about have come to Funiu Mountain, or that some monsters nearby have advanced to level 2. We need to investigate this matter in Funiu Mountain. I'll send a message to the Wang family to see if they can work with us. If something really happened in Funiu Mountain, we must find a way to solve this problem quickly, otherwise it will be difficult for Qingming Mountain to have peace in the future. Chapter 341 Entering Funiu Mountain. 2 days after delivering the letter to the Wang family, Song Qingming was somewhat surprised that the person who was invited to the Song family this time was not Wang Shanghai as Song Qingming thought, but Wang Sibo, who had successfully established his foundation more than 10 years ago. Since Wang Sibo established his foundation, Song Qingming had met him once at the banquet held by the Wang family. This was the second time he had met him. After more than 10 years, Wang Sibo's current cultivation level was not much different from what Song Qingming expected, and he had also broken through to the third level of foundation building. My aunt happened to be in seclusion a few days ago. After receiving the letter, the clan leader was afraid that other things would happen if time went on for a long time, so he sent the younger generation here. I hope Senior Song will forgive me. Wang Sibo had just arrived at Funiu, and when he saw Song Qingming coming to greet him, he showed a trace of doubt on his face, and hurriedly explained. Hearing the news that Wang Shanghai was in seclusion, Song Qingming immediately reacted in his heart that she was in seclusion to break through the late stage of foundation building. Wang Shanghai had established her foundation many years earlier than Song Qingming, but her cultivation speed after establishing her foundation was not very fast. She broke through to the 6th level of foundation building 2 years later than Song Qingming. This time, she was able to retreat because she probably found a good spiritual object, but it was not certain whether she could succeed. Song Qingming had failed to break through the late stage of foundation building in recent years, which made him deeply understand the difficulties in the process. Although the 6th and 7th levels of foundation building were only separated by one realm, the difficulty of this level suddenly increased several times compared with the previous levels, which almost stumped more than 50% of the foundation building cultivators in the world of Immortal cultivation. Among the foundation building cultivators that Song Qingming was familiar with, such as Lu Yuanfeng from King Hefang, Lu Xingde from the Lu family, and Wang Chenglian from the Wang family, they all stagnated for many years after cultivating to the middle stage of foundation building and could no longer improve. There were also many hard-working people among them, but without the help of suitable spiritual objects, they could only waste their time. Alice. Fellow Taoist Wang has been a fellow Taoist of mine for a long time. Why mention the word senior? We should still interact as peers in the future and don't break the rules of the immortal cultivation world that have been in place for tens of thousands of years. Wang Sibo smiled when he heard this, and replied without being polite, fellow Taoist Song is right. Although I have been building my foundation for some years, I seldom go out. I didn't expect that the Funiu Mountain has such a beautiful scenery. It's a pity that I didn't have the opportunity to visit here earlier. Fellow Taoist Wang, you are too polite. When it comes to beautiful scenery, how can Funiu Mountain be compared with Taiyuan Mountain, a 1,000-year-old spiritual land in our Qing County? It really brings honor to my Song family to receive such praise from you today, Song Qingming. Song Qingyu and several elders of the Song family came forward to meet Wang Sibo one by one, and then very politely invited him to the conference room. Fellow Taoist Wang, this time the monsters from Yunwu Mountain broke into Qing County on a large scale, and there were also second-level monsters mixed in. I guess there must be some changes in the mountain, so I invited you here to help and see if you can investigate and calm this matter down. After Song Qingming drank a cup of spiritual tea, he roughly repeated what happened in Baiyang Mountain to him. Wang Sibo stood up and bowed, saying, although Sibo has established his foundation, he has never been deep into Yunwu Mountain. The clan leader has already explained this time, so I just need to listen to you. Your and my families have been allies for many years. Since fellow Taoist Wang said so, Song will not waste time here. The three of us who have established our foundation will go to Yunwu Mountain together and go to the lair of the fire-scaled leopard to see if there is a chance to kill this monster. Let's put an end to this trouble first. After Song Qingming finished speaking, he took the initiative to stand up and walked out with Song Qingyu and Wang Sibo. The three of them flew eastward for about 200 miles and finally arrived at the volcano that Song Qingyu had been to before. After Song Qingming put on the hidden spirit shirt to hide his figure, he went around the mountain, but he was a little surprised. He did not find any traces of the fire-scale leopard here, and there were only a few monsters on the entire mountain. It did not look like the territory of a second-level monster at all. Even if it went out hunting, this fire-scale leopard would not take away all the monsters on the mountain. Could it be that this monster just migrated to another spiritual mountain? In this Yunwu Mountain, there are not many second-level spiritual veins, and basically there are monsters entrenched. The place where monsters like the fire-scale leopard like to practice the most is the volcanic spiritual vein in front of them. It doesn't make sense not to go to other places to look for spiritual veins in such a good place. After Song Qingming brought this news back to inform Song Qingyu and the others, the three of them searched the volcano carefully together and found a huge cave near the top of the mountain. The fire attribute spiritual energy in the cave is very abundant, and there are many remains of monsters around. After several people arrived here, they knew without thinking that this should be the cave where the fire-scale leopard practiced. After walking to the depths of the cave, Song Qingyu, who was standing by, suddenly saw a very charred place in a cave extending from the cave. After going forward and carefully checking it out, she found some residual ore and traces of human activities on the ground here, and hurriedly called Song Qingming and the others over. There should be other cultivators who stayed here for a while, and he left not too long ago. It should be that this person drove away the fire-scale leopard in order to refine some magic weapon here, so it gave up the spiritual vein and broke into Qing County not long ago. After carefully observing the surroundings, Song Qingming slowly spoke to the two people beside him. This person was able to drive the original owner, the fire-scale leopard, away from this place. It is certain that his cultivation is not inferior to ours. It is really troublesome for us to have such an unknown foreign foundation building cultivator hiding here. Fortunately, he has left now, Wang Sibo said with a smile. Song Qingming shook his head and said with a serious face, this person came here to use the fire vein spirit energy here to refine a magic weapon. As for whether he has been hiding nearby or has left, it is hard to say now. After returning, I need to remind the tribesmen not to go deep into Yunwu Mountain in the near future. Yunwu Mountain is also a mountain spanning thousands of miles. There are also many casual cultivators who will put caves nearby. For example, the cave of the senior cultivator that Song Qingming explored with the old Taoist Chen before building his foundation is a casual cultivator who built a cave deep in Yunwu Mountain. There must be more than one cultivator like this, but in order to hide their caves, ordinary cultivators will not easily reveal their whereabouts near the caves. Regardless of whether this person is still hiding nearby, as long as he is just an ordinary casual cultivator, the impact on Qing County and the Song family will not be too great, and everyone does not need to worry about it. The only worry is that this person is abandoned cultivator who escaped here from other places. For some reason, after Song Qingming arrived here, a strange and familiar feeling suddenly flashed through his mind, and this feeling also made him feel a little uneasy. Chapter 342 Uninvited. After seeing Song Qingming finish speaking, he stared at the traces on the ground, as if thinking about something. Wang Sibo and Song Qingyu both showed a hint of doubt on their faces. Fellow Taoist Song, since this person did not kill the fire-scale leopard, but only drove it away from here, I guess he is either a master who does not want others to know, or his cultivation is not much different from ours. He can only defeat this monster and has no ability to kill the fire-scale leopard. In this case, we don't need to worry too much. Well, seventh brother, fellow Taoist Wang's analysis is good. Even if this person is still hiding nearby, as long as he has no ill intentions towards us, we don't need to care who he is. Song Qingming turned around and smiled and nodded to Wang Sibo, saying, "What you said makes some sense, but it's always right to be more vigilant. We still need to pay attention recently. You two go to other places first. There are dark caves everywhere in this cave, so be careful. I'll collect some materials on the ground and go back to King Hefang to ask fellow Taoist Feng to see if he knows anything about this person's origins." Wang Sibo and Song Qingyu responded immediately upon seeing this, and then left the cave and went to other places to check. After the two left, Song Qingming took out a soundproofing note and covered himself with it, then whispered to the empty cave, "Senior Feng, can you tell what the cultivation level of the person hiding here is? I say, you really flatter me. It's been a long time since this person left. How can I be sure of his cultivation level? Do you really think I can see everything?" Hearing Feng He's words, Song Qingming hurriedly apologized, "Senior, don't blame me. I just feel that the person hiding here is a little bit unusual, and I feel a little uneasy. I'm afraid that if this person is a Jinden or unyielding cultivator, it will not be safe for you to follow me all the time. Don't worry, although I can't be sure of this person's cultivation level, he definitely can't be a cultivator above the Jinden level. But your feeling is right. I just used my spiritual sense to carefully investigate and found a trace of residual demonic energy. The person hiding here may be one of those sneaky demon cultivators." "What? It's a demon cultivator?" Hearing that there might be a foundation-building demon hiding here, Song Qingming's face suddenly changed. He had personally experienced a battle to annihilate the demon Yang Wuqi, and had also witnessed the destruction caused by these foundation-building demon cultivators who practiced the magic arts. A good sacred mountain could be turned into hell with corpses everywhere and blood flowing like a river by these demon cultivators in just a few months. Haha. Why are you panicking? It is possible that this person has the aura left by the magic weapon, and he may not be a real demon cultivator. Even if he is a real demon cultivator, his cultivation level cannot exceed the Jinden realm. I have dealt with those high-level demon cultivators in the past, and I have ways to deal with them. As long as this demon dares to show up in front of you, I will make sure that he will not be able to leave." Feng He spoke confidently. "In that case, if I really encounter this demon in the future, I will have to rely on my seniors." Song Qingming showed a happy smile on his face. After collecting some of the remaining refining materials on the ground, Song Qingming got up and left this place. After walking a few dozen feet deep into the cave, he ran into Wang Sibo and Song Qingyu who were returning from inside. "Seventh brother, we have checked inside and only found a few spiritual herbs, nothing else." After seeing Song Qingming, Song Qingyu nodded slightly to him. "In that case, let's leave here first. Although this place is a good second-level spiritual vein, it's a pity that the location is deep in the Funiu Mountain and it is not very useful. This time we have found the reason why the monster beast invaded King County, and our trip is worthwhile." After Song Qingming finished speaking, he took Song Qingyu and the other two back to the original path and walked out of the cave. However, just after walking out of the cave entrance, what surprised the three of them was that a red light suddenly appeared in the distant sky and was flying towards the mountain. "Seventh brother. This is a second-level monster beast. It seems to be the original fire-scale leopard. Humph. It should want to take back its nest. Hurry up and hide in the cave." Hearing Song Qingyu say this, Song Qingming was immediately happy, and hurriedly took the two back to the cave to hide their bodies. A moment later, a leopard with a red glow all over its body poked its head and entered the cave cautiously. This fire-scaled leopard has been entrenched in this secondary spiritual vein for nearly 100 years. A few months ago, a strange human cultivator came here, defeated it and drove it away. The fire-scaled leopard wandered outside with a group of low-level monsters for several months, but never found a stable place to settle down. Although this fire-scaled leopard lost to that person in several head-on fights, it still missed its old nest. Every once in a while, it would sneak back to see if there was a chance to take back its spiritual mountain and territory. What it didn't know was that although the person who drove it away had already left, there were other people waiting for it in the cave. Not long after the fire-scaled leopard entered the cave, it saw that the person who drove it out of its nest had not shown up this time, and thought that the person was not on the cave now, and couldn't help but feel a little happy. But before it could be happy for long, it suddenly ran into a man and a woman in the depths of the cave, and they attacked it directly. The fire-scaled leopard would be stronger in this cave full of fire attribute spiritual energy. Seeing someone ambushing it, the already alerted fire-scaled leopard immediately ran out of the cave. But just when the fire-scaled leopard was about to escape to the cave entrance, a tall figure had already stood at the entrance, blocking its way. Before, at the entrance of the cave, after seeing the fire-scaled leopard coming here from afar, Song Qingming asked Wang Sibo and Song Qinggayu to hide in the depths of the cave, and he himself hid his breath with the help of the hidden spirit shirt and hid directly near the entrance of the cave. When the fire-scaled leopard fell into the trap and entered the cave, Song Qingming and the other two attacked from the front and back, and now it was effortlessly blocked in the middle. This fire-scaled leopard was just a monster in the early stage of foundation building. It might not be able to defeat Song Qinggayu in a single battle. Now facing the siege of 3 foundation building monks who were no less powerful than it soon couldn't hold on and was killed by Song Qingming and others in its former lair. Song Qingming and his friends didn't expect that they didn't find this monster in the cave before. When they were about to leave, the fire-scaled leopard came uninvited and fell into their encirclement, thus losing its life. Chapter 343, 7th Level of Foundation Building. The sacred mountain where the fire-scaled leopard resides is the closest secondary spiritual vein to the Song family in Funiu Mountain. The low-level monsters in its territory will flow into the territory of the Song family in Qing County from time to make trouble. Now that the leading secondary monster has been killed, without the suppression of high-level monsters, these low-level monsters will inevitably compete with each other for territory. After killing the fire-scaled leopard, it can be regarded as a temporary solution to a major disaster for the Song family. Although there will be new secondary monsters coming to occupy here after a while, at least the Song family does not have to worry about the revenge of the fire-scaled leopard in the short term. After Song Qingming and the other two killed the fire-scaled leopard, they spent some time to decompose the monster materials on it before leaving the mountain in a hurry. After returning to Funiu, except for Song Qinggayu taking the fur of the fire-scaled leopard for making talismans, Song Qingming directly handed over all the remaining claws, steel teeth and other refining materials to Wang Sibo. Fellow Taoist Wang, please take these materials back to let fellow Taoist Qinggayu take a look and see if you can ask her to refine a few second-level magic tools. Fellow Taoist Song, rest assured, leave this matter to me. When my aunt comes out of seclusion, I will definitely ask her to help. No matter how many magic tools can be refined, I will definitely send one to Funiu. In this case, I'll trouble you, fellow Taoist Wang. Song Qingming smiled and personally sent Wang Sibo away from Funiu. During this trip to Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming found that although Wang Sibo's talent for cultivation was not particularly outstanding, he was quick to understand people and things, quite smart, and a good family leader. If the Wang family could be handed over to him in the future, not to mention expanding the territory and carrying forward the prosperity, but Wang Sibo's ability to be a king who maintains the status quo is more than enough. After seeing Wang Sibo off, Song Qingming had just returned to the cave on the top of the mountain and happened to see Song Qinggayu waiting for him in the cave. Brother, did you come to see me? Yes. My second sister from King Hufeng sent a letter saying that Fenda notified all families to come to the market for discussion at the beginning of next month. Song Qinggayu smiled and handed over a letter. Song Qingming opened the letter and read it. Seeing that this time it was just a notification for all families to attend the normal market discussion every few years, there was nothing special, he returned the letter to Song Qinggayu. Qinggayu, I will be in seclusion for a while. You can go on my behalf this time. If anyone asks me, just tell me the truth. During this period, the family will be handed over to you. You can make your own decisions on everything. You don't have to ask me for everything. Song Qinggayu nodded and said, okay, seventh brother, you can rest assured to retreat. I know what to do. After solving the fire-scaled leopard issue, Song Qingming put aside the trivial matters of the clan and began to retreat to prepare for a breakthrough in his cultivation. He first used a few tranquilizing spirit talismans, And then Song Qingming's hands immediately ran the Yuxin Sutra in his body. And soon he adjusted his mana to the best state. Senior, please lend me a helping hand during your retreat this time, haha. Helping you is also helping myself, don't worry about that. Your martial arts method seems to be somewhat special. Can you tell me where you learned it from? Feng He hesitated for a moment and suddenly asked. Hearing that Feng He seemed to have some interest in the technique he was practicing, Song Qingming thought about it and didn't intend to hide it from him. The technique I am practicing is called Yuxin Sutra, which is a somewhat incomplete technique that can only be practiced to the Jinden stage. I am actually not very clear about its origin. I found it in a magic weapon I bought from a market when I hadn't yet established my foundation. After I got this technique, the magic weapon was also damaged. When I went back to look for the seller a few years later, the two people who opened the shop had long disappeared. I wonder if you can tell its origin and where I can find the subsequent techniques? Oh, I didn't see that, but I think the technique you're practicing is interesting. It doesn't seem to be the common techniques in this world of immortal cultivation. It should be created by a master. To be honest, I don't know whether it is good or bad for you to practice this technique. What do you mean by this, senior? Please tell me frankly. Hearing Feng He's answer, Song Qingming asked nervously. Haha. You can successfully build a foundation with pseudo-spiritual roots. Most likely the set of exercises has some credit, but you should also know that although this kind of self-created exercises by masters are much more powerful than ordinary exercises, it is generally difficult to find follow-up exercises. When you reach the Golden Core realm, normally you must switch to other exercises to continue to improve your cultivation, but if you can continue to study this set of exercises and create a new set of exercises, then maybe you can achieve higher achievements in the future. It depends on how you choose at that time. Feng He paused for a moment, smiled and said slowly. Junior has not even passed the late stage of foundation building. It is too early to talk about things after the Golden Core, Song Qingming sighed. Although Feng He mistakenly attributed the reason for Song Qingming's success in building a foundation to the set of exercises he practiced, Song Qingming knew very well how difficult it was for him to build a foundation back then, and it was not entirely due to this set of exercises that he could get to where he is today. As for whether he should switch to cultivation techniques in the future, Song Qingming was not sure whether he could form a golden elixir now. He had no time to think about what would happen next. He would just pass this hurdle first. After Song Qingming put aside his distracting thoughts, he took a deep breath and swallowed a white jade pill that had been prepared long ago. Under Feng He's patient guidance, Song Qingming spent almost half a year in seclusion this time, and finally successfully raised his cultivation to the 7th level of foundation building, breaking through the bottleneck that had troubled him for many years without any danger. After walking out of the cave, Song Qingming went directly to the highest point of the mountaintop, overlooking the entire Funiu Mountain. Now that his cultivation has broken through to the late stage of foundation building, Song Qingming's personal strength has stood at the highest level of all cultivators in Qing County. Next, he will start to consider how to form a golden elixir. Looking at the entire Qing County, there has never been a powerful person who has formed a golden elixir in the 1,000-year history. If Song Qingming can really get to this point, he and the entire Song family will be famous in the world of cultivating immortals in Uyghur. Thinking of this, he also felt a little excited in his heart. Seventh brother, you finally finished your retreat. Song Qingming was still thinking about his future achievements, when a clear voice suddenly interrupted his thoughts. Song Qingming turned around and saw Song Qingyu, dressed in green, had come to his side. In the past 6 months, Song Qingyu had also successfully upgraded her talisman-making skills to level 2 with the talisman-making materials that Song Qingming brought back from Yangshan Fang this time. After learning that Song Qingming had come out of retreat, she came to Song Qingming impatiently to tell him the good news. Chapter 344 Wang Family's Gift. Song Qingyu's improvement in the art of making talismans is also a great joy for the Song family. Now that the Song family has 2 second-level talisman makers, the inheritance of the art of making talismans is already very impressive, and its reputation in Qing County will soon surpass that of the Wang and Gao families. Seeing that the girl was so happy, Song Qingming did not hesitate to encourage her. The Song family is no different from other foundation-building families with deep heritage. No matter who can have a high-level cultivation skill, it is still very important to the entire family. Seventh brother, Has your cultivation level broken through? Song Qingai was busy telling Song Qingming about her own good news at first, and did not notice the changes in Song Qingming. It was not until the two chatted for a while that she suddenly discovered that Song Qingming's cultivation level seemed to be much stronger than before. Although this retreat was a bit bumpy, fortunately, I was lucky, and it can be regarded as hard work pays off. Song Qingming smiled softly. Although Song Qingai knew before that Song Qingming's retreat was to break through the late stage of foundation building, she immediately showed a very surprised expression when she saw that Song Qingming really broke through successfully. Song Qingai has been building his foundation for so many years, and he knows that it is not easy to cultivate to the late stage of foundation building. Generally, if a foundation building cultivator wants to pass this level, it is difficult to do so even if he practices hard for decades without special opportunities or spiritual objects. Song Qingming is not even 90 years old now, but he has already cultivated to the late stage of foundation building. The last person in Qing County who can have such a talent was Wang Shengxin, the gifted patriarch of the Wang family 100 years ago. You should know that Wang Shengxin is a genius cultivator with 2 spiritual roots in Qing County, and it is not particularly difficult to understand that he can have such a speed of cultivation, but Song Qingming's spiritual root talent is far worse than him. It is very rare for a person with 4 spiritual roots to cultivate to the late stage of foundation building so quickly, even in a large sect like Xiaoyao sect. How can people not be surprised when Song Qingming, who comes from a small Qi Refining family like the Song family, can achieve such an achievement now? Fortunately, after Song Qingming established his foundation, his 6th uncle Song Changfeng, when he succeeded as the clan leader, had already strictly prohibited the clan from discussing the specific attributes of his spiritual roots in order to prevent other families from investigating. The cultivators outside all tacitly accepted that Song Qingming was a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots. Whether in Qing County or other places, in order to prevent hostile forces or other families from targeting, each immortal cultivation family will try to hide the spiritual root attributes and cultivation methods of their core members with better talents. Not only the Song family, but also several other families in Qing County have done a good job in keeping secrets in this regard. For example, Gao Yubei of the Gao family, Song Qingming only learned about this news from the Wang family several years after he established his foundation. He had never even heard of this person's name in Qing County before. Even though the Wang family had a lot of connections in Qing County, they only knew that Gao Yubei was a cultivator with 2 spiritual roots, and did not know his specific spiritual root attributes. As for Song Qingming's spiritual root attributes, it was no secret that he was a 4 spiritual root cultivator at first. However, after the Wang and Gao families found out about this news, they did not believe it and thought that the Song family had deliberately released it to let them relax their guard. In their eyes, they had already assumed that Song Qingming was at least a 3 spiritual root cultivator. After a cultivator reaches the foundation building stage, the factors that affect the speed of cultivation will also change. The proportion of spiritual root talent will be slightly less than that of the Qi Refining stage. Cultivation resources have become the biggest factor in determining the speed of cultivation of a foundation building cultivator. After Song Qingming established his foundation, he had the help of the remnant map to help him cultivate the elixir and spiritual objects he needed. He also got a lot of spiritual objects and magic tools from the Fire Phoenix to strengthen himself. This is the biggest reason why he can get to this point now. Song Qingai was naturally not clear about this. Although she had known in her heart that the 7th brother in front of her could successfully establish his foundation over the years, she might have received a great opportunity, but she did not know much about what Song Qingming had experienced. She didn't even know where the foundation building pill Song Qingming gave her came from. Song Qingming had never taken the initiative to tell Song Qingai about these things, and she had never taken the initiative to ask about them. Song Qingai knew in her heart that there must be reasons why Song Qingming didn't say some things. After all, every cultivator in the world of immortal cultivation has his own secrets. When Song Qingming is willing to tell her one day, he will naturally take the initiative to tell her. The news that Song Qingming broke through to the late stage of foundation building was not hidden for long by the Song family. Soon, both the Gao and Wang families knew about this news that surprised them. In a cave on the top of the Lotus Mountain in the Gao family, Gao Jin, who is already bedridden, looked at Gao Yubei who was sitting beside him and slowly said, "I didn't expect that Wang Shanghai had been in seclusion for so long, but to no avail. On the contrary, Song Qingming broke through to the late stage of foundation building first. It's really unpredictable. Yu Bei, although the Wang family is not strong enough now, the Song family is not to be underestimated. I'm afraid that your life as the head of the family may be worse than it is now. You need to be more patient. I believe your talent must be better than theirs. Go Yu Bei looked at Go Jin and didn't answer directly. He just nodded calmly. In Funiu Mountain, although Wang Shengxin has been getting older and older, he has never completely given up the hope of forming a pill. In recent days, he has just finished his retreat and is working hard to study a secret method that can increase the chance of forming a pill. Unexpectedly, he heard the news from below that Song Qingming has broken through to the 7th level of foundation building. He has cultivated to the late stage of foundation building so quickly. It seems that Song Qingming is really not an ordinary person. Sibo, go to the family's gold storage pavilion to pick a spiritual object and go to Funiu to congratulate Song Qingming on behalf of the family. Patriarch, last time the Song family and I went to Funiu Mountain to kill the fire scale leopard, and then asked my aunt to refine 3 magic tools. I promised Song Qingming to leave one for Funiu. Which one do you think is more suitable for me to take? Wang Sibo just finished speaking and quickly told the appearance and grade of these magic tools to the Patriarch Wang Shengxin. After listening to this, Wang Shengxin nodded and said, just send the fire scale armor over. This time we can show our sincerity by taking it out. Wang Sibo nodded and agreed to it. The next day, he came to Funiu with a set of red armor that was shining brightly. After sending a sound transmission node to the Funiu Mountain Protection Formation, a man in green flew out of the formation. Wang Daoyao, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you? Please come in, you are too polite. Song Daoyao. Wang Sibo was a little surprised to see that it was Song Qingming himself who came out to greet him, and he quickly answered. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345 Fire Scale Armor. Before coming to Funiu, Wang Sibo had heard from his family head Wang Shengxin that Song Qingming had broken through to the late stage of foundation building. However, the Wang family had just learned about this news and were not sure whether it was true. Wang Shengxin sent him here this time to confirm whether the news was true as soon as possible. After Wang Sibo saw Song Qingming, his consciousness quickly felt the powerful mana fluctuations coming from Song Qingming and realized that Song Qingming's cultivation had reached the late stage of foundation building. After confirming Song Qingming's current cultivation, Wang Sibo, who had been prepared for a long time, still showed a somewhat surprised expression on his face and said, I came here today to fulfill the agreement I made with Daoyao half a year ago. I didn't expect that Daoyao Song's cultivation has improved in just a year. It seems that this item can be used as a gift to Daoyao. As soon as Wang Sibo finished speaking, he took out the fire scale armor that had been prepared long ago from the storage bag and placed it in front of Song Qingming. The materials from the fire scale leopard were used by the Wang family to refine 3 magical instruments after they purchased some spiritual objects. The best quality one was the red soft armor called fire scale armor. This item was made from the soft fur of the fire scale leopard and refined copper stone. It was a very useful second-level low-grade defensive magical instrument. When a foundation building cultivator wore such a soft armor, his fighting ability could be improved by a small amount. Seeing this good-looking defensive magical instrument in front of him, Song Qingming was a little surprised. The agreement he made with Wang Sibo was just because the Song family did not have a second-level refiner and could not process these monster materials in a short time. That was why he wanted Wang Sibo to help him. He asked Wang Shenggayu to refine a few magical instruments using the materials from the fire scale leopard and then give one to the Song family. He never thought that the Wang family would actually take out such a good-looking magical instrument. What he didn't know was that Wang Sibo actually had 2 magical instruments made of fire scale leopard materials. If the information the Wang family received this time was wrong, and the Song Qingming Wang Sibo saw had not broken through to the late stage of foundation building, then he would have taken out another magical instrument of average quality. Haha. Fellow Taoist Wang, thank you so much for taking the trouble to come here for this matter. Come with me to the mountain to taste a few cups of spiritual tea first. After seeing the fire scale armor, Song Qingming didn't hesitate to put it away and invited Wang Sibo to the meeting hall to entertain him. Although Song Qingming was a little surprised by the Wang family's unexpected show of goodwill to the Song family, he immediately understood that among all the foundation-building cultivators in Qing County, the two with the highest cultivation in the late stage of foundation building were already very old, and Gao Jin of the Gao family had a short lifespan and was unlikely to take action. Although Wang Shengxin of the Wang family still has 20 to 30 years of life left to allow the Wang family to remain the number one immortal cultivation family in Qing County, Wang Shengaiyu of the Wang family failed to break through to the late stage of foundation building during his retreat. When Wang Shengxin passes away in the future, if the Wang family has not cultivated a new late-stage cultivator, then their family's stamina will begin to be somewhat insufficient, and it will be difficult to continue to maintain the dignity of a top foundation-building family. Now that his cultivation has broken through to the late stage of foundation building, in about 20 years, the person with the highest cultivation in Qing County will most likely fall on him. The Wang family's change of attitude towards the Song family can be regarded as a precautionary measure. Song Qingming was very polite to Wang Sibo's initiative to show goodwill this time. Before leaving, he specially took out a second-level spiritual peach that had been treasured for many years in the family's treasured gold pavilion and gave it to Wang Sibo as a return gift. The second-level spiritual peach sent by Song Qingming is a wood-attributed spiritual fruit that can increase the mana of a cultivator in the early stage of foundation building for several months. It is worth at least 200 or 300 spiritual stones on the market. Wang Sibo was instantly moved when he saw this thing, and did not refuse too much. He left Funiu Mountain with a happy face. Just after seeing Wang Sibo off, Song Qingming went directly to Song Qingaiyu's cave and took out the fire scale armor he had just obtained. Seventh brother, the Wang family is really generous this time. They are willing to give out such a good magic weapon. Song Qingaiyu was also a little surprised when he saw the fire scale armor. Song Qingming smiled and did not answer. He directly handed the fire scale armor to Song Qingaiyu. You can keep this magic weapon. I have a defensive magic weapon that is enough for me. Seventh brother, why don't you keep this magic weapon? You should keep it. I already have the green water bell. One more low-grade defensive magic weapon won't be of much use. This magic weapon is just right for you to use now. Seeing what Song Qingming said, Song Qingaiyu did not insist anymore. He put away the fire scale armor with gratitude, held it in his hands and looked at it happily. After a while, Song Qingaiyu put away the fire scale armor again, and said to Song Qingming seriously, Seventh brother, I have gained some insights in my cultivation recently, and I plan to go into seclusion in a few days to try to break through my cultivation. Song Qingming nodded and said, your magic power has been almost polished, and with the elixir I gave you last time, I think it should not be a problem to break through your cultivation. Just don't be too impatient. Well, I know, don't worry, even if the breakthrough fails this time, I won't be anxious or discouraged. After all, I am a foundation-building cultivator who has practiced for decades. Don't worry about me too much. On a sacred mountain deep in the floating cloud mountains, a middle-aged man wearing golden armor was sitting at a stone table with a relaxed expression, tasting the delicious spiritual wine in front of him. This middle-aged man who looked a little tipsy was the overlord of the area within tens of thousands of miles, the Golden Feather Demon Emperor. Not far from the Golden Feather Demon King, several demon kings who were usually majestic and domineering stood aside respectfully, carefully watching the demon king who was concentrating on drinking, and did not dare to disturb him. After a while, the Golden Feather Demon King, whose face was already red, suddenly put down the wine glass in his hand, stood up and looked at the sky not far away with a cautious face. The sky, which was clear just now, suddenly became gloomy. The sky was already covered with dark clouds, and the rolling clouds slowly gathered towards the corner of the sacred mountain where the Golden Feather Demon King was. Has it already begun? Seeing this scene in front of them, several demon kings suddenly widened their eyes, their expressions began to become a little excited, and they uttered a burst of exclamations. After sensing the noises made by several demon kings on the side, the Golden Feather Demon King suddenly turned around and shouted in a serious voice, "What are you doing? Go and guard the entrances and exits around. From today on, no demon beasts are allowed to enter or leave the Golden Feather Mountain." Chapter 346, Nascent Soul Thunder Tribulation. A month later, a huge spiritual energy vortex began to appear on the top of Funiu Mountain. As the surrounding spiritual energy gathered towards the center, the vortex slowly became several dozen feet in size. Although it was still daytime around Funiu Mountain at this moment, it was like night. The sky, which had already been covered with dark clouds, began to thunder and the wind and clouds surged. Located in the center of the spiritual energy vortex, there was a young woman in red, who was wholeheartedly trying to absorb the spiritual energy of the world gathered from all over. It was she who caused the strange phenomenon of the world in Funiu Mountain this time. As the spiritual energy gathered more and more, a thunder suddenly exploded in the clouds, bursting out a shocking roar. In the sky, a green lightning as thick as an arm had already fallen from the sky, heading straight for the red-dressed woman who was still absorbing spiritual energy below, illuminating the already dark night sky brighter than ever. Hearing this thunderous sound, the low-level monsters near Funiu Mountain were immediately frightened and fell to the ground. Only the monster kings above the giant level could still rely on the shield formed by their own cultivation to remain unaffected. When the red-dressed woman saw the thunderbolt falling, a ball of red flame immediately lit up on her body. The flame quickly enveloped her whole body and burned bigger and bigger. A moment later, a huge red phoenix suddenly flew out of the flames and ran directly towards the lightning. After the phoenix covered in flames encountered the lightning in the sky, there was another earth-shattering noise, and the sky was suddenly filled with flames and lightning. Although the red phoenix blocked the thunderbolt, it was also split into pieces by the lightning and fell from the sky. Not long after this lightning bolt was blocked, another powerful thunderbolt gathered in the sky and fell, and its power seemed to be 3 times stronger than before. The woman in red, covered in flames, raised her hand and released another red spiritual light, which flew straight into the sky. The red flames that had just been dispersed met the spiritual light and gathered again in the air into a larger flame. After a while, a cry was heard again in the flames, and a phoenix of the same size as before flew out of the flames again. The art of rebirth in fire. After seeing this scene, several demon kings who had been scattered around Funiu Mountain showed a look of shock in their eyes. On an inconspicuous green mountain hundreds of miles away from Funiu Mountain, looking at the dark clouds and thundering Funiu Mountain in front, Lu Boyang of Xiaoyao sect also had a look of shock on his face. Looking at the power of this thunder tribulation, it should be the legendary Yuanying thunder tribulation. There are several powerful demon kings near Funiu Mountain. I don't know which demon king under the demon king is going through the tribulation. If the demon clan has another Yuanying demon king, the existing power of Xiaoyao sect and Funiu Mountain will start to become unbalanced, and Guo will not be able to live in peace in the future. A few days ago, he was stationed in Gianfang and suddenly received news from Funiu that there was a strange phenomenon in the depths of Funiu Mountain, so he came to investigate. At first, Lu Boyang thought that there was another demon beast in Funiu Mountain that was forming a pill. Unexpectedly, when he came to the vicinity of Funiu Mountain thousands of miles away, he saw the scene that shocked him. In order to find out which demon king was going through the tribulation, Lu Boyang relied on a robe that could conceal his figure and quietly approached a few hundred miles away from Funiu Mountain. Because the consciousness of the Yuanying demon king could easily cover a distance of hundreds of miles, he dared to come here. When Lu Boyang saw the red phoenix appearing in the sky, he thought for a long time but still couldn't recognize which demon king under the golden feather demon king it was. There were only a few great demon kings who were capable of breaking through the nascent soul stage near the Golden Feather Mountain bordering the Wei state, and Lu Boyang had never heard of any of them being able to use such a powerful fire magic. Just as Lu Boyang gritted his teeth and wanted to get closer to the Golden Feather Mountain, 2 spiritual lights, one white and one purple, suddenly flew over from a distance, quickly surrounding Lu Boyang from the left and right. Not good. There are other demon kings nearby, and I should have been discovered by them. Seeing the 2 spiritual lights getting closer and closer, Lu Boyang didn't think much, and directly moved his body and turned into a sword light and quickly fled backwards, trying to escape from here quickly. Since you dare to come here, why are you in such a hurry to leave? A low voice suddenly came from the white spiritual light and went straight into LV Boyang's ears. This voice was very strange, and it also carried a fascinating echo, which made LV Boyang almost think that the voice came from the front of him. He was determined to escape, but fortunately he sent out a sound insulation note in time to protect his body, so that he did not lose his mind and stopped. Oh no. It seems that the one chasing me is the Wind Demon King. I'm afraid it will be difficult to escape today. LV Boyang was shocked when he reacted. He gritted his teeth and cast a spell to spit out a blood mist. He used the blood shield technique he had practiced for many years, and relied on consuming the essence and blood in his body to speed up his escape. LV Boyang was seriously injured in the monster turmoil that year, and he did not fully recover until recent years. Unexpectedly, he was unlucky again when he went out this time and ran into two demon kings, one of whom was the Wind Demon King, who LV Boyang suspected was undergoing a tribulation. This great demon king is one of the most powerful demon kings under the command of the Golden Feather Demon King. Not only has his cultivation reached the late giant stage, but he is also good at using very rare sound wave spells to attack his opponents. Decades ago, in Gianfang, the Wind Demon King even restrained Xiaoyao's ex-head Yao Qianshu for more than 100 rounds in a battle and escaped unscathed. This is enough to prove that his strength has surpassed most of the giant and cultivators in Xiaoyao's sect. The Wind Demon King is very good at escape techniques. If he is caught up by such a great demon king, it will be difficult for LV Boyang to escape with his strength. For this reason, he chose to consume his own blood and perform secret techniques to escape. Not long after LV Boyang escaped, the Golden Feather Mountainside quickly received the news. The burly giant elephant demon king used the flying escape technique to come to the side of the Golden Feather Demon King and asked carefully, "Your Majesty, the Demon King, Feng Yi and his men in the south have just discovered a human cultivator. He seems to be from the Xiaoyao sect. Should we capture him? Don't worry about him. Tell Feng Yi to drive him away and come back immediately. Don't waste time there. The most important thing for us right now is to protect Funiu Mountain. Everyone should guard your positions and don't make any mistakes." The Funiu Demon King, with his hands behind his back, gave the order with a serious look on his face. Chapter 347, Infant. While the Golden Feather Demon King was speaking, the second thunderbolt was once again stopped by the red phoenix and disappeared in the air. At the same time, the third thunderbolt that had already formed in the sky quickly fell towards the red-dressed woman below with the force of thunder. The power of this second thunderbolt seemed to have increased a lot. It was not completely stopped by the red phoenix that was reborn in the flames. The residual power of this thunderbolt passed through the flames and fell directly on the head of the red-dressed woman, smashing all the boulders on the ground within a few dozen feet around her into pieces. However, the red-dressed woman, who was in the center of this attack, was not injured after this attack. The area around her, which was 3 feet in radius, was firmly protected by a pale purple circular shield formed by her casting. This shield was emitted from a piece of jade in the red-dressed woman's hand. With this shield, the red-dressed woman easily stopped the third thunderbolt, but after she stopped this thunderbolt, there was not much joy on her face. There are usually 6 unyielding thunder tribulations, and each subsequent thunder tribulation is much more powerful than the previous one. The power of this third thunder tribulation is already so amazing. If she wants to block the next 3 thunder tribulations without help from others, it is really not an easy task for her to do so alone. After the red-clothed woman survived the third thunder tribulation, she looked solemnly at the fourth thunder tribulation that was about to fall from the sky again. With a determined face, she took out a white porcelain bottle, opened the bottle mouth and poured the cold liquid with mist inside into her mouth. After taking the contents of the bottle, the red-clothed woman's originally slightly red eyes suddenly had a blue stripe, which made her eyes more cold. At the same time, the ball of fire in the sky that she was controlling also changed from the original red to a red and blue flame. The phoenix reborn from the flames was almost twice as large as before, and the flames on its body were also very different from before. After the fierce fourth thunderbolt fell, the phoenix, which had been reborn from the ashes, let out a crisp cry and rushed directly towards the thunderbolt with amazing destructive power. After the collision, the blue phoenix was not immediately split apart. Instead, the power of the fourth thunderbolt was instantly weakened by more than half after it encountered it, and it disappeared into the air first. This Xuanine true fruit can really weaken the effect of the thunderbolt. With the help of this thing, it seems that she should have no problem surviving the thunderbolt this time. I can see this scene with my own eyes. All these years have not been wasted. The Golden Feather Demon King touched the beard at the corner of his mouth with a look of satisfaction, turned around and sat down, took out a pot of fine wine and drank another sip. After the blue phoenix still flying in the air intercepted this thunder tribulation, it quickly used the flames burning on its body to slowly recover the damaged parts. The red-dressed woman who saw this scene slowly showed a relaxed smile on her pale cheeks, and confidently controlled the phoenix to face the fifth thunder tribulation that was about to fall. 2 days later, LV Boyang, with a pale face, appeared outside Yianfang. After hurriedly returning to the market, LV Boyang quickly ordered the entire market to be under martial law and opened the mountain protection formation. It was not until he returned to his own territory that LV Boyang finally breathed a sigh of relief. This time, the visit to Funiu Mountain was full of dangers. If the Wind Demon King who was chasing LV Boyang had not chased him for a while and then voluntarily gave up returning to Funiu Mountain, it would still be unknown whether he could get away safely this time. Half a day later, a Taoist in white came out of the teleportation array of Yianfang. When LV Boyang, who had been waiting beside the teleportation array, saw this person, he hurriedly stepped forward and bowed. "Greetings, Uncle Li." This Taoist in white was none other than Li Mufeng, the supreme elder of Xiaoyao sect. After LV Boyang returned to Yianfang, he immediately sent his disciples to take the teleportation array back to the gate of Xiaoyao sect and reported everything that happened near Funiu Mountain to the sect. Li Mufeng nodded and said calmly, "Boyang, I already know the news you sent. I'm going to Funiu Mountain. You just need to guard this place well, Uncle Li. Isn't it too dangerous for you to go to Funiu Mountain alone? Do you want me to go with you?" Li Mufeng shook his head and said, "No, this time I want to go and talk to the Golden Feather Demon King. We don't have any life and death feud with Funiu Mountain for the time being. If too many people go, they will easily misunderstand us. I will follow Uncle Master's orders." After hearing this, LV Boyang immediately responded and then retreated. After Li Mufeng finished talking to LV Boyang, he stepped in the clouds and headed north. After hearing what LV Boyang had told him about what happened in Funiu Mountain, he was a little worried along the way. The Funiu Demon Kings, who had been staying at home, appeared one after another in the territory of Uyghur. Li Mufeng had already felt something was wrong. He didn't expect that there would be another Demon King in Funiu Mountain who started to break through the nascent soul realm so soon. Nascent soul cultivators have long been able to walk in the air, and their speed far exceeds that of giant cultivators who need to fly in the clouds. It only took Li Mufeng half a day to reach the vicinity of Funiu Mountain. As soon as he arrived here, Li Mufeng saw from afar that there was a trace of colorful rays of light on Funiu Mountain, covering the top of the mountain. This is a unique scene that will only form after the thunder tribulation. It seems that I am a step late. There should be another Demon King in Funiu Mountain in the future. Li Mufeng stopped and muttered to himself. Suddenly, a golden light flew out from the side of Funiu Mountain and instantly came to Li Mufeng. "Dao Ali, what are you doing here? My Funiu Mountain is not a place that welcomes human cultivators. Dao Funiu, this spiritual dew from heaven, may I ask which Dao has successfully formed a nascent soul?" Hearing the unkind words of the Golden Feather Demon Emperor, Li Mufeng did not care too much, but smiled and asked slowly. The Golden Feather Demon Emperor frowned and replied, "This has nothing to do with you, Dao. Please don't mind your own business, Dao brother Funiu. I have no ill intentions in coming here, I just want to chat with you, otherwise I would not have ventured here alone. If Dao is unwilling, I can also take my leave first. Please don't hurt the harmony between the two sides because of this matter." Li Mufeng smiled and arched his hands, and was about to leave. Hearing that Li Mufeng was leaving, the Golden Feather Demon Emperor did not intend to keep him. Both sides were nascent soul cultivators, and it was difficult to kill each other alone. His purpose was just to drive away this human neighbor and prevent Li Mufeng's appearance from affecting the situation of the one on the top of the mountain. Chapter 348, Spirit Testing. Just as Li Mufeng turned to leave, he suddenly heard a secret voice transmission from the Golden Feather Demon Emperor. "Fellow Taoist Li, please don't ask about what happened here. I can make you a promise. As long as your Xiaoyao sect does not cross the Demon Clan territory at will, the contracts between Funiu Mountain and your Xiaoyao sect that year can continue to remain unchanged." Hearing this unexpected voice transmission, Li Mufeng's face changed slightly, and his brows, which had been a little worried, also relaxed a little. With a calm face, he slightly bowed to the Golden Feather Demon Emperor and turned into a white light and quickly disappeared into the sky. After leaving Funiu Mountain, Li Mufeng did not stay in the vicinity for too long and went directly back to Yianfang. This time he was a step late, and the Yuanying thunder tribulation of Funiu Mountain had ended. Li Mufeng did not find out more useful information. Since the colorful glow after the thunder tribulation has appeared on Funiu Mountain, it proves that there is indeed a Demon King who has broken through the nascent soul realm there. Having come to this point, The opponent has either successfully passed the tribulation or has been killed by the thunder in the last thunder tribulation and turned into ashes. With Jinyu, the famous demon king who has been famous for many years, protecting him with all his strength, Li Mufang can also think that the possibility of this demon king passing the tribulation successfully is still very high. Thinking of the last promise made by Jinyu demon king to him, although Li Mufang did not doubt that the demon king would go back on his word, he was still a little worried. He called LV Boyang, who had been to Funiu Mountain before, and asked him carefully about what he saw on Funiu Mountain that day. Uncle Li, the phoenix I saw that day was indeed a bit strange. We have been dealing with Funiu Mountain for so many years, and we have already recorded in detail the magical powers of those famous demon kings in the sex classics. I have indeed never seen such magical powers. After Li Boyang came back that day, in order to find out which demon king was undergoing the tribulation, he specially found the Xiaoyao sex records of the nearby third level and above demon beasts and took a good look. In that case, this demon king who is undergoing the tribulation may not be from the vicinity of Funiu Mountain. Could it be that he is a demon king who has just come to Funiu Mountain from other places? Lu Boyang pondered for a moment and said, in my opinion, this is indeed possible. And judging from the scene of the tribulation that day, the demon king's magical powers are very powerful. And he does not look like a demon king of ordinary blood. Well, that's it. You should take good care of your injuries here. As for what you saw in Funiu Mountain, I just know it. Don't tell anyone else. Now that we are weaker, we should try not to take the initiative to provoke Funiu Mountain. After hearing Lu Boyang's analysis, Li Mufang nodded slightly, and then spoke with a serious face to instruct him. Although the origin of this demon king who is striving for the nascent soul realm is still unknown, anyway, Li Mufang got the promise of the Golden Feather Demon Emperor to extend the contract when he returned from Funiu Mountain, which can be regarded as an unexpected gain. One of the important reasons why Uyghur has been able to develop steadily and become a great country near the floating cloud mountains for so many years is also because of the contract signed by the modern ancestor of Xiaoyao sect and the Golden Feather Demon Emperor for more than 1,000 years. Compared with other demon kings near the human territory, the Golden Feather Demon King likes to fight with cultivators of the same level, but rarely encourages his demon beasts to invade the human territory. Since signing a contract with the Xiaoyao sect, it has never shown up even during the demon beast rites that happen once every 100 years. After carefully explaining a few things to LV Boyang, Li Mufang took the teleportation array to leave Gianfang. Seeing that his master Li was so afraid of the matter of Golden Feather Mountain, LV Boyang also vaguely guessed that the demon king who was undergoing the tribulation in Golden Feather Mountain this time was not simple. Fortunately, he had not mentioned this matter to others after he came back, so he just had to keep his mouth shut on the future. At the foot of Funiu Mountain, in Mujao town, two cultivators of the new generation of the Song family came down the mountain early in the morning and came to a large house in the center of the town. The two mortal servants at the gate of the courtyard saw the two immortal masters coming, and hurriedly stepped forward, invited the two into the courtyard, and brought them to the side of a one-armed old man. Junior Zintong, Zengui greets fourth uncle, no need to be polite. Why did you two go down the mountain for the spirit test ceremony this year? Did Zinru and the others slack off again? Song Qingru smiled and walked quickly with the two of them. Although Song Qingru was not young anymore, he was in good spirits. He had been staying at the foot of the mountain to guard the mountain for many years. He had already started a family early. Now one of his grandsons got married not long ago. It is estimated that he will have a great-grandson in the near future. Fifth brother was sent by eldest uncle to help harvest the spiritual fields, so 14th aunt sent the two of us here. Fourth uncle, are you ready? Song Zintong answered shyly. Song Qingru continued with a smile, well, I have been ready yesterday, just waiting for you to come. I haven't had a spiritual route for several years. I hope you will have better luck this year. Fourth uncle, don't worry, with Zintong and I, we can definitely find someone with spiritual roots for you. When you meet the clan leader, don't forget to say good things for us. Song Zingui smiled and replied. You are a sly guy, I know you are not the one who will suffer losses. If you can really find a fairy seedling for me this time, I promise you will never let you suffer losses. As they were talking, several people came to a spacious courtyard together. There were already more than 30 children in their teens, who were not much different in age, waiting here with their parents. Today is the spiritual ceremony of the Song family's Mujao town. Children from the Song family or other families in the town can come here to test their spiritual roots as long as they meet the test age. No matter who has a spiritual root and is sent to the mountain to practice immortal arts, they can become one of our generation. The rest is still the old rules. Any fairy child with spiritual roots in the family can get a reward of 200 taels of silver at a time. Well, I won't say more nonsense. I will call the number in my hand to take the initiative to accept the test. One by one, Song Xintong turned sideways and nodded slightly to the elder Song Qingru, and began to test the spiritual roots of each child who came here in order. Next, number 23, more than 20 people were called in a row, but as expected, no spiritual root seedlings were seen. Most of the tests were done but nothing was found. Song Qingru's face began to look a little ugly. The 23rd boy was a little boy who was a little afraid of strangers. After Song Xintong called him softly several times, he reluctantly left his mother's arms and slowly moved to Song Xinggui's side. With the help of Song Xingui, the boy put his hand on the spiritual root test plate. Before he could withdraw his arm, two dazzling spiritual lights suddenly appeared on the spiritual root test plate, shocking everyone who had been silent. Chapter 349 Song Yuanli. Seeing these two different colored spiritual lights coming out of the spiritual measuring disc, everyone watching exclaimed and cast envious eyes at the little boy. The Song family's spiritual measuring ceremony is held every other year. The mortals in Mujio town are already very familiar with this. They know that whoever can make the disc in the hands of the immortal master emit light represents a gifted immortal cultivator. However, compared to the mortals present, the two immortal masters who came here to test the spiritual roots showed a trace of doubt on their faces when they saw the two different colored spiritual lights, one red and one green. Fourth uncle, does this child have two spiritual roots? Song Xingui, who was holding the spiritual measuring disc in his hand, asked Song Qingru beside him with a surprised look. Song Qingru, who had been sitting upright, had already stood up and walked towards them quickly. Song Qingru has been in charge of Mujio town for many years, and he is a very approachable elder. He knows a little about these children who participated in the spirit testing ceremony. The ancestor of this child was once a senior cultivator, who was once glorious, but it has been many generations, and the ancestor's influence has been almost consumed. Now the family has fallen into decline. Unexpectedly, 100 years later, their family welcomed another cultivator. Yes, it does show that he has both fire and wood spiritual roots. Since the spirit testing plate has responded, he must have spiritual roots, but it is hard to say whether he has both spiritual roots. The family spirit testing plate has occasionally misdetected in the past. It is better to take this child to the mountain and use other spirit testing plates to test it again to confirm it. Xingui, you stay and continue to test the others. Xintong, you and I will take him to the mountain now and ask the elders to test his spiritual roots again. Song Qingru approached and took a closer look, and said to the two people beside him with a happy face. Hearing Song Qingru say this, Song Xintong nodded immediately, and took the somewhat shy little boy with him back to Funiu Mountain. Although the two did not speak along the way, their faces were filled with excitement. The Song family has been established for more than 200 years. The best spiritual root talent in the family is only 3 spiritual roots, and there has never been a double spiritual root cultivator. If the little boy found today is really a double spiritual root, the Song family has a good seedling who can build a foundation. In the future, as long as it can be properly cultivated, it is very likely that another foundation building cultivator will be added. In the meeting hall of Funiu Mountain, Song Qingshi cautiously led Song Qingru and others to a hidden room. Song Xintong took the new spirit testing plate that Song Qingshi had just taken from the family's gold storage pavilion, put the spirit stone on it, and waved to the little boy behind him. Don't be afraid, just put your hands on it as before. After changing the spirit testing plate, as the little boy put his hands on it, the room lit up again with 2 identical spiritual lights that had appeared in Mujio town before. Haha. Brother, it seems that it's right. This child really has earth spirit roots. I haven't made any contributions in the mountains in my life. I didn't expect that at this age. I can help the family discover a genius with earth spirit roots. This time I can finally live up to the ancestors of the Song family. Seeing Song Qingru's happy look, Song Qingshi, who also had slightly white hair, smiled and said slowly, Old 4, don't rush back. Come with me to take him to see Qingming. After Song Qingru nodded, the few of them left the meeting room and slowly walked towards the top of the mountain. They soon came to Song Qingming's cave. Since breaking through the 7th level of foundation building, Song Qingming has never left Funiu. He spends most of his time in his cave to cultivate and stabilize his cultivation. Occasionally, he will go out of the cave gate in his spare time to visit the place where Song Qinggai was in seclusion. After seeing Song Qingshi and others bring the little boy, Song Qingming put his hand on his head and let his consciousness slowly enter his body. After a long time, he slowly put down his hand. He has fire and wood spiritual roots and can practice the family's red fire art. He is indeed a good seedling. Has this child been named? Song Qingshi replied, it has not been determined yet. He is the 18th cultivator of the Yuan generation. Since he has come to you, Qingming, you should help him choose a character. Seeing that he looks gentle and polite, I think we should just give him the character Li. What do you think? Song Qingming smiled and asked the little boy, who is still a little uneasy. Well, from now on you will be called Song Yuan Li. Why don't you thank the clan leader for giving you the name? Seeing that the little boy didn't dare to answer, Song Qingru behind him hurriedly stepped forward and asked him to kneel down and pay homage to Song Qingming. After waving his hand, Song Qingming turned around and said to the people standing in his cave with a serious face, Yuan Li's spiritual roots must be kept secret in the clan from now on. If anyone who knows about this, whether it is a cultivator or a mortal, dares to talk about it again, you, brother, will deal with it according to the clan rules. From now on, just say that he has 3 spiritual roots. 4th brother, since this child was found by you, you are more familiar with his situation. Why don't you stay in the mountain for a while and be responsible for teaching him? For the matter of Mujio town, eldest brother, you can arrange someone to replace 4th brother first. And the few people who went to Mujio town to test the spirits this time should also be rewarded as appropriate, but this matter should not be done too obviously. Just give more benefits secretly, so that others will not see the clues. Well, I said hello to Xintuang before I came, and asked her to go back to Mujio town to take care of those who knew about it. I will go to Mujio town to deal with this matter now. 4th brother, this child will be handed over to you. Song Qingshi nodded and left first. The family has finally obtained a talented cultivator, and Song Qingshi also knows the interests involved in this matter. The most urgent task is to go to Mujio town first to appease those mortals, so that no one will publicize the matter, which will then make it difficult to keep the secret. I have to help King Gayu protect the law during this period of time, so I won't be in seclusion. If 4th brother encounters any problems that are difficult to solve in the future, you can come directly to me. After Song Qingru nodded in agreement, he replied with a happy smile, Qingming, you can rest assured to leave this child to me. I will definitely teach him well. After so many years, my old bones can still help you worry about things. I am still of some use. But you also know that my cultivation is not high. In a few years, you will have to help him find another master to avoid delaying his cultivation. Since Song Qingru went down the mountain to start a family, he has given birth to 8 children in a row and more than a dozen grandchildren. Among his descendants, only 1 child has spiritual roots, and his aptitude is not as good as his 5 spiritual roots. Today, he has the opportunity to personally teach the future genius of the family, which can be regarded as letting him have another successor to inherit his legacy. Chapter 350 King Gayu exits. Song Qingming was a little surprised that the Song family had found a good seedling with 2 spiritual roots this time. Since he established his foundation, the Song family was promoted to a foundation building family, and the number of cultivators in the family also increased greatly. Compared with less than 30 cultivators before he established his foundation, there are now 2 foundation building cultivators and more than 60 Qi refining cultivators on Funiu Mountain. However, although the number of cultivators in the Song family has increased a lot, there are not many with good qualifications and talents. Among the more than 20 people of the Xin generation, the one with the best talent and the possibility of establishing a foundation is Song Zinayu, who has 3 spiritual roots. However, he was sent to Xiaoyao sect by Song Qingming early. Except for Song Zinayu, the cultivation talents of others are very average in Song Qingming's eyes. Before today, there were nearly 20 cultivators of the Yuan generation, but the talents of this generation of cultivators are worse than those of the Xin generation. Only 1 cultivator with 3 spiritual roots of average talent was found. The younger generation of cultivators in the family has always been a bit of a successor, which has been a concern for Song Qingming for many years. Today, he found a genius with 2 spiritual roots among the Yuan generation cultivators, which finally made him gradually relax. In order to protect Song Yuanli, who had just entered the Dao, Song Qingming issued a strict order in the clan. In the future, all underage cultivators on the mountain were not allowed to go down the mountain without permission. If they wanted to go home, they had to get the consent of the elders in the clan and arrange for the elders to accompany them. Song Yuanli was handed over to his fourth brother Song Qingru for teaching. The reason why Song Qingming made such an arrangement was that in addition to the fact that his fourth brother was more familiar with the child, the main reason was that Song Qingru already knew the secret of his spiritual roots. If he was directly responsible for teaching, there would be no need for one more person to know about this matter. 2 months later, in a small attic on Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming sat calmly at the top, explaining to 5 or 6 teenagers below some things in the world of cultivation that they could only see in books. Next to him sat the fourth brother Song Qingru, who was newly arranged by the family to be responsible for teaching the underage cultivators of the family. After returning from the front line of Lu State, Song Qingming never left Funiu Mountain for a long time. In addition to practicing, he would also take some time to teach these younger generations in the family school. After Song Yuanli went up the mountain, he quickly got used to the life there. He was gifted with dual attribute earth spirit roots. It took him less than a month to draw Qi into his body after he started practicing, and he became a Qi refining cultivator. At this moment, he sat in the middle and listened patiently to Song Qingming's teachings. Seventh uncle, are there really endless deserts and seas in this world? A girl with big eyes tilted her head and asked Song Qingming curiously. Song Qingming smiled slightly and said, of course there are. After going west from Uyghur and passing through several big countries, you can reach the Tixi Desert. It is said that there are tens of thousands of miles of endless yellow sand there, but it is not an easy thing to get there, and I have never been there. As for the sea, it is also very far away from Uyghur. However, I have been to Taiyu Lake in the south of Uyghur once. That place also looks boundless at a glance, and it is similar to the sea recorded in books. As long as you can practice hard and wait until you have achieved success in the future, it will not be difficult to go there to take a look. Seventh uncle, can you really fly to the sky like a big bird after building the foundation? Yes. That's right. After the cultivators build the foundation, they can fly with a flying instrument, and they can fly faster than those big birds. Seventh uncle, when can we become foundation building cultivators like you and fly to the sky? Haha. You can't be impatient about this. Seventh uncle has practiced hard for many years to achieve today's achievements. If you want to be like me, you have to practice hard first and break through to the middle stage of Qi refining as soon as possible. Seventh uncle, you know, when a child was asking, everyone found that Song Qingming, who was originally sitting, suddenly stood up and looked at the entrance of the school. And there was a young woman in a tight Taoist robe who looked at everyone in the room with a happy face. Fourth brother, let's stop here today. After Song Qingming returned the children to Song Qingru, he smiled and walked towards Song Qingyu who was standing at the door. Not bad, you didn't disappoint me. Your cultivation has finally broken through. Qingyu, when did you come out of retreat? Why didn't my elder brother send someone to tell me? After leaving the family school, Song Qingming said slowly to Song Qingyu with his hands behind his back. Song Qingyu, who looked heroic behind him, chuckled and said, Seventh brother, after I came out of seclusion, I came here directly. I'm afraid my eldest brother doesn't know about this yet, so don't blame him. Why are you in such a hurry to find me? Your cultivation has just broken through not long ago. You should go back to the cave and stay in seclusion. If there's anything, just send a message and have someone notify me. Seventh brother, you promised me that you would let me go out for experience after I break through the 4th level of foundation building. You should fulfill your promise now. Song Qingming shook his head helplessly and said, It's true that I promised you, but you have just broken through, so you have to wait until your cultivation is stable before talking about this. I'm not in a hurry to leave right away, but I want to get your permission first. You can always agree to this first. As for when to leave, don't worry, I have an idea in my mind, and I will definitely inform you in advance. Song Qingyu rolled his clear eyes and insisted that Song Qingming agree to let him go out for experience first. Your cultivation is not stable yet, so you should practice for a while first. I promise you that you can leave Funiu at any time when your cultivation is stable. But no matter where you are going, you must inform me in advance. Seeing that he could not escape, Song Qingming could only open his mouth and agree to let Song Qingyu go out for training for a while. Although Song Qingming often went out for adventures, He was always a little worried when other people in the clan wanted to learn from him and go out for training, especially Song Qingming, who is the closest to him. Qingming, I just need to practice a spell and need to retreat for a while. Since you have come out of retreat, you can take care of the family affairs for me for a while. I don't know how long my retreat will take this time. There is nothing particularly important. You can make the decision on your side, and you don't have to wait for menus all the time. Seeing that Song Qingming had agreed to her going out, Song Qingming's face began to be filled with smiles. When she heard Song Qingming asked him to manage the family first, she agreed without thinking too much. After talking to Song Qingming returned to his cave alone and began to prepare to pack up the various spiritual objects he had placed in the cave. Boy, you are finally going to go down the mountain, but I am not the one urging you this time, so don't find an excuse to move me out again. Just as Song Qingming was concentrating on sorting out the spiritual objects he needed, a familiar old voice sounded in his ears again. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.